Hi, this is your Giant Bombcast for June the 9th, 2020.
Checks out.
It's a Tuesday, does it? Do you approve? Jason A. Striker?
Checking the watch. And yes, you did it.
All right, I got the
You
day
nailed
right.
it.
I got the day right. this can go nowhere but down.
We're off to a good start.
Yes.
May the 4th be with you.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
And with your spirit.
Yeah. I'm Brad Shoemaker. Jan Ochoa is here. Jason A. Striker, as mentioned.
Hello.
Ben Pack, Jeff Gersman. Hello, all.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey.
Wait, all is here?
All? Yes, all.
Oh, no.
My alt is here.
Yeah, we're here. The world is still
Burning.
a bad place. Things are still pretty rotten here in America, but we're on the air.
Yep.
We are here to broadcast.
Glimmers of hope here and there. That's
Yeah.
the stuff I'm looking at and going like,
Yes.
you know what?
Yes.
Yeah. Change is being made.
Yes, the
Kind of.
best and the worst of humanity on display on a daily basis, it seems.
Truly.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. So, yes.
Humanity laid bare.
Yes.
Are we the
Seems to be the
best or
case.
the worst?
Ooh, I was gonna say
Both.
somewhere in between.
Okay.
The best gaming podcast, the worst people. You can't have one without the other. It's the Giant Bombcast.
Yep, that's the tagline. We've been
Put it on a shirt.
looking to rebrand in 2020, and I think you got it.
Yeah.
All those all the money we paid to that marketing consultancy, fucking.
And the best
down
thing they came up with was Giant Bombcast : fuck this shit.
Thanks a lot, Cambridge Analytica.
Yeah.
It's not
God.
the worst. Oh boy,
Went through all that Facebook data, and what did we get for it?
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like it goes without saying. Like, our thoughts continue to be with all of the people affected by ongoing current events.
Yeah,
But-
there's still plenty of opportunities to donate to a lot
Yes.
of different, bail funds and Black Lives Matter and all this sort of stuff. There's a lot going on out there. Just don't look away
Yes.
too long.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to. I think that's
Yes.
the other thing is, like you gotta keep your head on straight. and
Yeah,
sometimes know when to be like, hey, I need to not sit here and stare at the news every minute of the day,
Right.
because that's not healthy either. The advice I've been giving people,
Yeah.
myself.
Okay.
The advice I've been
Install
giving
the
myself.
Twitter app.
Maybe.
to
Yeah.
try
Maybe.
to look at the news maybe like twice a day.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe it's not just me that I feel like yes, you certainly need to take care of your mental health, but it is a fine line to walk,
Yeah.
right? Of not
Yes.
not looking away for too long.
Exactly.
Like
There are
you
plenty of
gotta-
people who can't afford to look away.
Right.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
that's
That's
yes.
that's the point there.
Yeah.
Is that there's a lot going on that should stay on top of it
Yes.
for sure.
But again, take care of yourself. Like, I'm not saying like don't subject yourself to things
Yes.
that are damaging you.
Like the internet is a fucking fire hose if you let it be one,
Yes.
and it's not useful. You are not getting better informed by getting blow by blow, minute to minute coverage of this stuff. There are a few things out there, depending on where you are and what you're doing, you can kind of let the dust settle a little bit
Yeah.
on some of this stuff, so you're not getting this happened. No, wait, it was actually this. No, wait, it was actually this. Just like
Yep. I've been kind of deviating from Twitter because of the blow by blow action has just been like really exhausting. So I check like general news sites and stuff. Like I've got my Google News feed and stuff like that, and it comes in at a much more manageable trip.
definitely.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
if you're out there on the streets, if you're
Yeah.
out there, obviously, if you're out there protest, if you're in Seattle, you might need to look at social media a little more often to know, hey, where am I going to be safe? All this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a lot. Obviously.
Yes. And as usual, all thanks and gratitude to people out there hitting the pavement, just doing
Hell yeah.
doing the work out there.
Hell yeah.
Don't forget to wash your hands.
Yes. Also, yes, wear your masks. Make sure
Yes.
you protect yourself on every level. There's a lot.
Masks are great for a lot of reasons.
There's a lot
these
going on
days.
right now. Yeah. So, when's that new Watch Dogs coming out again?
Never at this point. Never,
Yeah.
like,
Never.
dude. Like,
I don't-
that came up yesterday, and like, think about, like, at the time, the idea of like, oh man, they're gonna take on Brexit. How like interesting that sounded, and now it sounds like ancient fucking history. Like,
mean,
oh,
to
you
be
might as
fair-
well, yeah,
They're still putting out Last of Us. So
Right. yeah.
video
exactly.
games stop for nothing.
I'm playing it. I can confirm that it's coming out. It's a playable video game. I have played some of it, but I can't really talk about it.
All right.
Per the restrictions of the embargo, there's like
Brad has the mushroom sickness.
next to nothing I can say about it right now.
Brad always was a fun guy.
It's,
Please don't spoil Last of Us for me, Brad.
okay, I won't.
I haven't
Good
played
man.
it, but I read a lot about it. I can tell you.
Oh,
Yeah?
you're not.
Yeah.
You're not. You didn't sign any NDAs.
Exactly.
Those,
I could.
those leaks didn't come with paperwork.
Exactly.
Okay, we'll talk about that. Stay tuned for The Last of Us Part 2 coverage coming soon to a website near you.
All right.
Yeah. In the meantime, I asked you guys to send me a list of the games you've been playing, and then I promptly forgot to pull that list up before this podcast. So
It
hang
works
on,
out great
just
with when you get the list. It's a great.
It's a great list.
hold up. Let me
It's a great list.
just. God, man, this is like a whole new era. I've just got this gigantic stack of games that we can just go anywhere. I want to talk about Command & Conquer Remastered.
Yeah.
Okay.
God
Talk
damn
about
it.
it.
That's actually, of all the games on this list, the oldest one is the one I want to hear the most about.
It's unsurprising. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
Is it good?
I mean, it is those games.
Okay.
It is Command and Conquer, and it is CNC Red Alert. And they have done some work to it to I know you followed some of the stuff that they put out along the way, where they detailed some of the stuff they were going through to try to up-res the video footage because they couldn't find the original masters and all this other stuff. And I think most of that stuff looks fine. The full screen FMV at 16:9, like that, they've made that stuff look totally acceptable. It's blurry in spots, but it's like totally forgivable. But like so Dune 2 was the first RTS I ever played. Westwood's the classic.
Is
did
it
a
the
lot of
first?
that
It's
stuff.
the first RTS, right? Can we?
Is it Herzog's Vi for
Well,
Genesis or something?
I
Is
guess
it-
that counts. I guess.
Yeah.
I've always thought of Dune 2 as the beginning of the RTS genre.
Totally. Like Dune 2 is that's the first one I played that that game was a big deal when it came out on PC. And CNC is like that game without without the Dune license in a lot of ways.
Right.
Kind of similar concepts in spots, and yeah, so when Command & Conquer came out, I was way into it, and it's a very accessible game. So I think that's kind of the cool thing about it right now, is that RTS games over time obviously became way more complicated. The like post Warcraft 3, right? The introducing the hero units and all that other stuff. Like I feel like a lot of RTS games just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And if you were sticking with the genre as you went, then you grew along with it, and it was fine. And you were like, no, I'm still all right at these. And then you eventually hit a point where like I'm no longer good at this stuff. So I think that makes Command and Conquer like it's a very accessible game, because it doesn't really. It's a very simple game basically, and it'll probably be too simple. Like if you didn't play CNC but you played like way later RTS games, you're gonna come back to this and be like, all right, this is boring as hell, I bet.
That was my question, because I've never StarCraft was my first RTS.
Yeah, because like StarCraft, like I totally get what you're saying. Like StarCraft 2 was the point where you had to be pretty good at micro just to be competitive on even a basic level.
Right.
And like this is the era where like making a bajillion tanks and drag selecting them and just saying attack that base is like that still works, right?
Totally. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that there are more devious tactics than that, and but when we and I'm sure this exists on some level, right? But and in fact, I know it does. But like, no one was talking about a unit being a hard counter for another unit in Command & Conquer. So like, there was stuff where you're like, okay, I know that this vehicle is going to be susceptible to the rocket guy. So I need to run his ass over, and that's micro. Me running a man over with this fucking Humvee.
Right. God, I forgot that CNC had like the super tiny little like fodder dudes, right? Like the individual infantry guys were like the tiny
individual
little,
totally. You weren't spitting out battalions of guys. You were spitting out individual units,
like 3 pixels tall, like cannon fodder looking dudes.
Basically, yeah. So but obviously units counter other units. I don't mean to say that there's like zero strategy, but it wasn't how you thought about that game when you were playing the campaign. It was more like, oh, they've got a lot of this stuff. I guess I need some of this stuff. It was more innate. It was a lot easier just to figure on your own. I think the campaigns are fun. Like the FMV is goofy. They have put in, it's a video, obviously, but like that when you first start that game up, it goes through the installer. Like the
original
DOS,
one?
the original
Wow.
an updated version of
Wow.
the installer that like makes nods to IRQ settings and all this other stuff. Like
Man.
it's a good bit. It's got the old Electronic Arts logo in it.
Man.
Which is cool. Like
I have to see that.
they've really I think that you can tell that this thing is coming from a place of like it's coming from people who really care about Command and Conquer, the early days of CNC and the minutia therein, you know, and the attention to detail on that front I think is really cool.
Yeah.
It's got you know, the campaigns from the original game. It has Covert Ops, the expansion that they put out, and it also has the missions that were exclusive to the console versions of the game.
Wow.
Oh, cool.
Which is kind of neat.
Yeah. That's where they got the FMV also came from those console versions because it was slightly better.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So they've it's a nice package of a game that I think, again, you know, it holds up pretty well if you're looking for like a just kind of a bare bones standard RTS game. It defaults to controls that will not make a lot of sense if you've played RTSs lately. Like it's there, you don't use the right mouse button in the game by default, but you can turn all that on. They've got options for just like, oh, well, you want to play this like a modern RTS? And you're like, yes, I do. Yes, exactly. And you can. And yeah, I think with those settings adjusted and all that sort of stuff, you can hit the space bar at any time to toggle between old graphics and new graphics, which is kind of fun. You know,
How does the new stuff look? Is it just higher res, same stuff? Or?
They've redrawn everything.
Oh. But same style. I mean, like they didn't.
Same basic style, yeah, but you know, much smoother units, but since it's running at the same speed and resolution and frame rate, like all that sort of stuff, like, you know, it looks like better looking graphics that are running kind of janky, you know, because it's still kind of adherent to the old, you know, rate of Command and Conquer, and so I don't think the new stuff looks all that great. I think the structures look fine, but I think the individual units and just the individual infantry guys, I don't think they look great. I don't think they move great when you're in the new style. But you can toggle right back to the old one if you want, and that's fine too.
If there's like updated audio and stuff like that?
They've remastered the music. They've included, like, if you want to turn on the old lower resolution audio, you can. If you're just like, oh well, if you want to hear the kind of shitty sounding pre-MP3 even audio and all that music, you can, but they've got remastered audio, all the other stuff in there too. So it's for the music anyway, but the unit audio all seems fine. Yeah, I was pretty impressed with it. It's like a pretty simple thing, you know. You look at it and go like, oh well, yeah, they're going to remaster CNC, whatever. But I actually like, I think they go the extra mile here in a way that you wouldn't expect, and actually, honestly, I didn't know that this had Red Alert in it until I downloaded it. It's like, it's technically called Remastered Collection, and when you launch it, you choose if you want regular CNC or if you want Red Alert.
Is Red Alert the expansion to CNC,
no,
or was it a proper sequel?
It's a
standalone game, right?
Exactly, yeah. It's an alt history.
Right.
It is, what if Einstein built a time machine and went back to the 20s and killed Hitler?
Right.
And so suddenly it's like Soviet units that you're fighting against, and they have Tesla coils and all this other wild shit as a result of that. And so the Red Alert franchise is fucking awesome. So and just like goofy from minute one.
So no, no nod in Red Alert at all. It's totally separate from that.
No, there's a quote from Kane is on the installer and stuff, but like it is not about that. It's a totally alternate history.
So wait, who are the big actors from the original Red Alert? Like, who are the names?
No one. Tim Curry showed up in that series eventually.
Okay. Okay.
But in that first one, I don't think anyone of note was in. Like, Ray Wise is the president in 2, I think.
Okay.
Generally, Ray Wise plays the president at some point in some Command and Conquer game. That might be RA2, but I don't remember for sure.
Isn't Ric Flair in that series at some point?
Ric Flair was one of the generals in.
Yeah. Maybe that was later on.
Yeah, I mean that was
okay.
That was Giant Bomb era. Command and Conquer
yes,
at
right.
that point, that Flair was in it.
At that point, they knew what they had on their hands, and they were just leaning into it.
Totally, yeah. Udo Kier was in it as Yuri. So when they did Yuri's Revenge expansion, it was a lot of him.
Right.
Udo Kier went to the office. They brought him around, and he showed up at the GameSpot office.
Wow.
And I remember he seemed very enchanted, enamored. He wanted to talk to / look at Joe Fielder a lot.
What? Huh.
I don't, I don't. But he seemed fascinated by Joe.
Knows a film buff when he sees one.
Yeah, exactly. He came by the office for like a quick interview or something like that when they were putting that game out, and it's cool, man. I as someone who liked those early CNC games a whole lot, it's nice. It's got multiplayer. It's got Steam Workshop support.
Oh wow.
Even, which like for an EA game is kind of crazy.
Yeah. What is it? $20? Is that right? Did I
I'd
dream
have
that?
to
I
look.
should double check
seems,
before I.
That seems cheap.
Okay, maybe it's. Maybe that.
I was
is-
going to say 40 off the
That
top of my
maybe
head,
that's
but
right.
Let me click on this, and I will tell you in mere moments.
Oh, I'm almost there.
It's 20.
Oh, I got blocked by the age gate. You beat me to it. It's $20.
I'm cookied at the age gate. It thinks I was born in 1949.
This is what I get for switching to Edge.
Yeah,
So it's $20. That's
it's $20
for the amount of work it sounds like they put into this. That seems pretty fair.
Yeah, it really comes across like a labor of love in a lot of
Yeah.
ways, and the bonus material is a lot of just like green screen shots of guys acting really poorly.
Joe Kukin.
Yeah.
Did I see? I thought I saw somebody implying he shot some new material for this, or is that not right?
I don't know.
Or maybe he did new voice.
If he did,
I saw people saying
yeah.
like, "Oh, he came out of retirement for this thing." I don't know if he just did some new voiceover or something, but
perhaps I don't know. I don't actually know.
that-
Yeah, so far it's been pretty faithful to those original games, but I've only played like 4 or 5 missions of the campaign. And
okay.
There's a quick look up on the site. I played a bit of it yesterday, so
Cool. Awesome.
you can check that.
Oh, it sounds like he cut a new trailer for it.
Okay,
So
that makes more
there
sense.
There is some modern footage of Joe Kukin out there
as Kane.
as
That's
Kane.
great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Speaking of like labor of love, that GitHub repo went up for the source code for those games.
Yeah.
So that stuff's out there. Like,
Oh, that's right. Wow.
I like. It's not a bad thing, but my first reaction is just like, what is going on at EA? Like, this seems like the least EA like thing to do.
I feel like over the years, actually, I shouldn't even say that because I can only think of like one other example, and it was like Paul doing stuff with Ultima games and trying to get the source code out there for some of that stuff. But there have been cases, or there's been that case, I guess, throughout history where someone at EA gave enough of a fuck to push and push and push and
Right.
fight and fight and fight to get it by some lawyers and get them to spend some time on it or whatever it took to make something really cool happen on that front. And yeah, that's pretty neat that they did that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's awesome. That is heartwarming that stuff is out there.
Yeah. And $20 Steam Workshop support, like it's all the online stuff works, and like, hey, that's a lot of game for $20.
Sure. Also, it sounds like it's worth it just to see that installer to me personally.
Yeah,
pretty
it's-
good.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's literally a video. You
Yeah,
don't
I
interact
know,
with it
I
at
know,
all,
I
but
know, but it's
like,
still-
and it was actually made by someone in the community. There's
Oh.
when you go hover over it in the bonus gallery stuff, it's like someone in the community took the time to make like an updated like version of that installer, and it's really well done. I was so happy when I launched that thing and it had a fake version of that installer play. It was just like, okay, like people who gave a shit about the same shit I gave a shit about with Command and Conquer clearly had a say in this, and it was neat. It was neat to see.
That's cool. I hope maybe this is, I don't know if it's the start of EA turning over a new leaf or something. They also just put like a shitload of new game. Well, not new, but a bunch of games on Steam. Like I know they've said that they were
Yeah.
doing that a while back, but they just put out like, God, what is it? Like Burnout Paradise Remastered and the second Mirror's Edge. And
Which every time I try to launch Burnout Paradise Remastered, it gets to like what would be the main menu and immediately crashes to desktop.
Okay.
So
All
that's
right.
pretty cool.
So, you know.
But yeah, no, it's like Unravel. It's
Yeah, both
the
Unravel
last two
games.
Need for Speed games.
Yeah.
Um,
The new Plants vs. Zombies.
a bunch of Dragon Age.
Yes. Dragon Age 2 at least. Like it's
Yeah,
kind of
or
weird.
is it an Inquisition? Maybe
just-
was already there anyway.
It's just
yeah.
weird to see this big dump of the last like what 8 years of EA games or something just
Well,
showing
it's
up
because
on there.
it's because EA Access is coming to Steam.
Oh right. Okay.
So they have to put those games out
Right.
there for that stuff to work. So it's weird that they put all that stuff out and yet haven't started. It's almost like a Microsoft-like approach of like, oh yeah, you can pay money for these games,
Right.
but there's a subscription service you can use to not do that. But hey, you said you wanted our games on Steam, so here you go.
By
Real
Dragon Age
quick,
2.
if you've never played a Dragon Age, do you think that is still a series you could get into in the year 2020?
I mean, I've not played any one of those games a ton, but they're all different enough that I don't even know
Yeah,
that there's not
They're
even
very
like
different.
it's not even like a steady continuum of Dragon Age games. It's like each
Right.
one is kind of its own thing. Like if you're
2
looking,
is the one that people seem to like the most, right?
I feel like 2 was the one people thought was-
Inquisition, I
yeah,
think.
two,
Yeah.
two is the most
Yeah.
polarizing. Well, it depends on what you're looking for. Like
Yeah.
one Dave Snyder said that the original Dragon Age Origins was like one of the best CRPGs he had played at the time. But that one is
Yeah.
very much like, it's like a top down, you can pause. It's like
Yeah.
that old school style CRPG. And then 2 is what it is, and then Inquisition is like a Skyrim-esque thing, right? Kind of.
It's like a
Or
like a
it's-
Mass Effect-ish
yeah, it's-
sort of
it's
like
like
it's
There's some
it's
WoW
more
in
modern
there.
BioWare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it was like the template for Mass Effect Andromeda for what
And a
that's
lot
worth.
of very high walls and a lot of very high canyon walls that you can't get around,
Right.
and like
'Cause-
navigating that world was super not fun.
Yeah,
But it's a lot about, like Mass Effect. It's a lot of like, hey, I'm going to talk to my companions a bunch and romance them,
Right.
and all that other stuff.
Yeah,
Like,
that's like Origins is old BioWare and Inquisition is modern BioWare is kind of
I mean,
the way to break it down.
after Saints Row 3, I don't think romance in games is appealing to me anymore because they nailed it so well.
well, there you go.
Really nowhere to go from there. Jeff, what else you got going on? I mean, I've got this list right here in front of me. I could just say it, but
Well, what do you want to hear about next?
is Sludge Life the game I think it is? It's like weird
Yo.
analog video effects, and also there's like a cat, like a cat's butt on the Epic Store page right in your face.
That's the one.
That's
the
the
cat with two buttholes.
Two buttholes,
That's
Yes,
Sludge Life.
I'm just gonna go dig
Checks
up that
out.
screenshot right now.
Jan, you're about that Sludge Life.
I'm so about that sludge life.
Yeah.
I've partaken in it in like maybe 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's funny because I was just got off playing Umurangi Generations, which Austin Walker recommended last week.
Yeah.
And this is kind of similar. So you're walking around. It's like what? Like a barge almost, right? Like a flotilla kind of.
Yeah,
thing?
you wake up in a shipping container that's over the water and just have to get out there and tag shit up. You got to get up.
Got to get up. And like I thought the graffiti part of it would be a little bit more. I thought you'd do more other than walk up to a spot and tag it up, but it's dripping. It's dripping in style.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's basically like that game breaks down to. It's almost like platforming puzzles. Like you can see in the world the areas that you are to tag, basically, and figuring out how to run and jump and get up and get around the world to get to those spots kind of is the game. But along the way, you're meeting characters and just seeing this world and seeing all this like highly stylish shit. But yeah, like you, I really wish that the tagging was more interesting, like more varied. I think you you unlock more stuff as you get up more tags around the world.
Yeah,
but I don't know
there's
if
like
that actually changes the graffiti much.
I'm not 100% sure either. I'm like 2 tags away from unlocking a new style or whatever, but there's like an icon in like the menus that marks tags. So I'm assuming you could be able to pick different stuff in the future.
It might just unlock the stuff because there's stuff in the menu that's like more movement options or just like there's like gear in that game basically that seems to unlock over time as well. So
yeah, I found a glider recently and that's been fun. Just jumping off the top of silos and towers to get to other spots.
Did you just find the glider in the world, or was it something you
Yes.
got from tags? Okay, shit,
I just found the glider.
All right. See, I was thinking that would be something you would get, like, oh, when you get 20 tags, you get the glider or something like that. But okay, if it's just there, then I need to look more.
I think the camera in that game is hilarious because after you stop taking a picture, like versus an Umurangi Generations, which is completely different game, but that's all about the photography. Here, after you're done with it, you just throw the camera, but you still have it in your inventory.
Yeah, so you can throw a camera in a cop's face if you want.
Hell yeah,
and stuff like that. I'm sorry, a clops.
Clops, yes,
The clops. Yeah,
everyone is on strike.
Yes. Also, everyone in the game is on strike, so that's why they don't care that you're tagging up their like factory or whatever. There's like whatever.
Yeah.
I'm on strike. I don't care.
Yeah.
And the music's good. Dos One did the soundtrack. It's
Oh,
good.
shit.
Oh, that's who
Haven't-
did it.
yeah.
Okay, I haven't
Okay.
heard from him in a while.
Yeah.
Cool.
And it's free on the Epic Store, so you should just
still?
go get it.
Still free?
I believe still. I'm not positive, but
Yeah, I picked it up yesterday and it was still free then.
Oh, wow,
okay.
shit. I saw that it was the day of. They're doing that more on there lately.
Yeah.
Or they're announcing it at least. Like, what was it? I think the next Total War game that's coming out in a couple months is just going to be free on release day.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even old games anymore. It's just like brand new
Right.
releases on our store. Just come get them.
it's weird. Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess they just really want to build that user base.
Yes.
Like trying to walk through like why is that? What are they getting out of this? And it's email addresses, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yes, that seems to be the case.
More people to use their store.
Game seems like it's got style.
Definitely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
I,
Yeah, that is that game, you know. Like it's you walking around talking to people. It's you going back to the desktop of your fucked up computer and closing a bunch of pop-up windows and watching Siggy tell you how many cigarettes you have found. It is pushing down on the D-pad to smoke cigarettes.
Siggy the friendly cigarette.
Yes. Well, no, it's a smiley face that wants to smoke one with you.
I also
like
found
Exactly.
yeah. I found drugs in a locker and I did them, and then I turned really small and wound up in like a vending machine, and then the character threw up, and then I was back to where I was, and I felt like I had a trip.
I found mushrooms, and it let you
Yeah.
fly around the world for like a minute or so. and then
Zooms, right?
Yeah, and then you end up back where you were, and you throw up and keep going. So it's actually like a weird way to scout the world. You'd be like, how do I get up here?
That was a fun trip.
Yeah, Sludge Life is neat.
Yeah.
It's not an amazing video game from like a gameplay perspective or whatever, but it's cool. I like it, and it's free. So hey,
Play it.
play it. You know what's not free,
What's that?
but also is kind of free or will be
Go on.
Trackmania.
Oh? So did that come out?
No, it's out in July.
Okay.
They pushed it back.
Okay.
They announced that a few weeks ago that they were pushing it back to I believe it's July.
We talked about that when it got announced on here, right?
Yes.
What is that thing called? Does it have a name? Is it just
Trackmania.
Trackmania? It's just Trackmania?
It's called
Trackmania.
Trackmania.
Sure.
So I spent a few weeks playing Trackmania, playing the new Trackmania, and we were not allowed to capture any footage from it or anything like that. But I can tell you with authority, looks like Trackmania.
Okay.
Actually, that's selling it a little short. I think they've done a visual pass on it, and there's some neat little effects and billboards and cool style in there that is actually pretty nice. But you know, it's very much identifiable as Trackmania. The build that they provided, obviously the game's not out yet, so like the thing I care about is going to be multiplayer and what do the servers look like and all that other stuff. And
Yeah, like I was going to ask if this is like, and I don't know exactly what the business model is, but I think like the word going around is like, oh, they're turning it into a game as a service, a subscription model or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, is this just their attempt to build a walled garden around the Trackmania experience and like all the effects that might entail on private servers and stuff?
it's weird. So Trackmania Turbo did that. The last Trackmania game that came out was very console. I was on consoles as well as PC, but even the PC version was consoleized in a way that like you didn't run your own dedicated server on a Linux machine somewhere. You just like it was all you played up and all that other stuff, and it sucked, man. It was like, there's no modded servers with music and all this other stuff. Like it was cool. It was very easy to get into, and it still had the track builder and all that stuff was technically present, but it lost a lot of the heart and soul of the mess of Trackmania. And so my understanding, so I ended up asking because this build didn't have any multiplayer in it at all because the game's not out. No one's out there to run a server right now anyway. So I asked like, hey, is this going to have dedicated servers and all that, like is this good? Because you would see in the menus that were grayed out as I was digging through the build, you could see little bits and pieces of just like, okay, this looks like it's only going to be here. They wouldn't put this menu option here unless it was going to have custom skins and like this, like the different things that of as like these are the menus of a Trackmania game. Just they did a visual pass to pretty them up, so it looks like it will have all of the good busted ass Trackmania stuff that I'm here for. But the access to that is being gated. So they've done Trackmania for free before. And there was Trackmania Nations, which is this is technically a remake of or a reboot of Trackmania Nations, which was the free version of Trackmania United. And what they've did over time there was like it was supported by in-game advertising for a while, so you saw a lot of ads for like AM PM hot dogs.
Cool.
And
Okay.
then eventually
Was
it kind of
Tungus there?
no, sorry, this is pre-Tungus. But eventually it got to a point where it's like, oh, this free people can only play on these servers in the free zone, and different things of that nature. And Trackmania 2 introduced this concept of like channels, and you can play whatever channel is on right now for free as part of this trial. But if you want to just access the server browser and do all this other stuff, you need to buy the game. But it was a one-time purchase. The catch now is that there's basically 3 tiers of Trackmania. There's the free thing where you can play whatever the active rotating channel is or whatever from the looks of things. And then there's a standard version. And this is weird. Like they gave some comment. I forget who they gave it to, but they tried to wiggle around the notion of this being a subscription product. And instead tried to say you'll just buy the game multiple times, which like is a ridiculous distinction. Or it doesn't make any sense. Maybe it will someday, but so there's a version that is $10 a year, and a version that is, I believe it. Sorry, I need to look this up. I believe it's $30 a year, or 30. Wait, actually, maybe I have that wrong. I'm going to look this up right now and tell you because. Let's see here. Okay. Standard access will be, okay. So standard access is $10 a year. And with that, you get like full access to the editor and what they call map review servers, which is not immediately, that's not a concept I'm familiar with. But basically they're building things around like daily competitions. And so there'll be like a track of the day. And so you'll log in and try to set the like alone single player, go to the track of the day and try to set a great time or something like that.
Trackmania got dailies.
Yeah, basically.
Great.
And then they have club access, which is where you have skin customization, online rooms, training tracks, competitions, campaigns. So basically, if you're looking to play the game at an esports level, or in my case, it seems to be the notion of online rooms, it says to me like custom server and all that sort of like serious Trackmania business. That is $30 for a year or 3 years for $60. So $60 for 3 years of Trackmania is what I paid for Trackmania 2, but I can still play it. And so it's a weird model that I think like some of the features and all the other stuff they're talking about like aren't necessarily clear yet because the game's not out and you're not like I'm not 100% sure what a map review server is and stuff like that. But at the same time, when I think about Trackmania, and how it's been this $20 thing that they have tried to support for years and years and pushed all these updates and tried to do all their weird, ambitious Mania Planet stuff. And I look at it in a modern context of like, okay, how do you put this game out today and justify continued support for it and keep money coming in so you can support esports events and all the stuff that they do in France and wherever else Trackmania is an esport. The idea of this being something with a recurring cost, and it's actually it's a pretty low recurring cost. Like it makes at least some sense. I look at it and go like, oh, actually that probably works out. And there are probably plenty of people who will never need to touch the club access tier of Trackmania, and a $10 a year thing of like, oh, I want to play some Trackmania this year, and you pay $10 for it and get it. That still sounds like a pretty good deal.
Yeah, like
after a year, you're like, hey,
I started to have that reaction too when you said $10 a year. I was like, that's not even $1 a month. Like, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But then I was like, but on the other hand, what is the upside of this model?
So
to
the upside is
player?
that they've got like quarterly campaigns and like, like they are going to be spending more time refreshing the content that they are making. Whereas before it was like, Nadeo makes their content and then whatever. You play through that stuff and who cares? And then you play the online stuff and that's it. So with this, they get to make more content for the game and have like, because right now when I loaded up the build that I had, it was like, these are the summer 2020 courses that you can access right now. With the idea being like, oh well, seasonally you'll get a whole new set of tracks and all that other stuff, and hopefully that comes with like new updates in the editor and new styles and stuff like that. So they've added new blocks to the editor, which those are just the map editor is a block based editor. You're like, this is a piece of straight track, this goes up and curves, this does this, and all that sort of stuff. And they've added stuff where like if you drive over this panel you can't steer, and so it's like you got to line yourself up before you hit that.
They're turning it into Mario Kart.
Yeah, well, it always had like turbo strips and stuff like that, and it has often had blocks you drive over that kills your engine, so you can still steer, and it still has that, but it's like now it's like, okay, well now you got to line yourself up and navigate these obstacles before you hit this, or there's one that's like when you hit it you go into slow motion, and so you want to try to get over it, and they've changed some of the flight mechanics or glide mechanics, I guess. Which is kind of wild and not really well explained in the build that I played. But like your wheels will fold under you a little bit and jet boosts will come out. So you can kind of, if you hit the brakes just right in the air, you will glide a little bit further. And so one of the maps that they had made had a slow motion strip. And if you hit that, you get knocked into slow motion, not just when you're on that strip, but after you come off it. So your time is fucked. Your lap time is garbage at that point. You might as well quit and start over. But if you can hit the ramp just right and glide over the slow motion strip and land on the other side, then you're good. So the air control and air mechanics of Trackmania are always kind of arcane, or have always been arcane to me in a way. So hopefully they do better at kind of explaining to players how they're to use that stuff. But it was like a cool little addition that you're like, okay, this is neat. And it's well illustrated by the jet boosters coming out of the wheels and stuff. And so I came away from it going like, this is totally like, as long as they haven't screwed up the server mods and the ability to have a music plugin and fill a Trackmania server full of garbage, this is a game that could support a new Star Wars Metallica-esque map.
Sure.
I'm confident that it will be a quality product.
I mean, just the very fact that they're calling it Trackmania, period, seems
Yeah.
like this is, they intend for this to be the Trackmania platform going forward. But,
I mean, instead of like Mania Planet and
Right.
Trackmania 2 Canyon and all
Yes.
this other stuff, like
but
this is them,
but
making
also
the thing that people want to hear.
This era is kind of iffy for those of us who want to serve dedicatedly.
Sure,
Yeah, like if you just want to download a binary and run it on a machine in the corner of your room and let people play on it, like I don't know.
Trackmania has never been
just
that simple.
Yeah.
Like in
Simple
order to
in
run
any
some of the
regard.
plug, I had when I started going down the rabbit hole of trying to run my own dedicated Trackmania server on Windows. Like I was installing like SQL databases and all of that stuff to like support all the record keeping and all the other stuff. And I got to a point where it's like, okay, I think this is running. And then it was like, no one can connect to this. What the fuck's wrong?
Yeah.
I know. Was it a network thing? Was it something? So at some point I just gave up and actually paid some nice German hosting company to host a Trackmania server for me.
Totally, like having the option to just pay somebody to do it for you is great, but don't take away the option to let somebody just run it on their, bedroom Linux box or whatever.
And so I don't get the impression that they're taking that away.
Okay.
That's the that I inquired about that and didn't necessarily get the point blank like, yes, dedicated servers will be available for Linux and Windows, whatever. But like my understanding, based on what I've seen of it, is I think it will have that stuff. And we'll see. It's out, I guess, next month now. So, So anyway, that's I came away from it like feeling all right about the game, and then read some of the supplemental material that came with it after I had played it for a while, and that's where all the stuff about how they were charging for it was there, and I was like, and I sat there and read it a little bit longer and looked at the build again, like, I think I see what they're trying to do here. It's not just some shameless cash grab. It really does seem like they're trying to turn this into a more living product, and offering a free version of it, I think, mitigates at least some of the complaints people would have about this move. And the pricing is such that it's like $10 a year, 60 for 3. Like, it's pretty. That's pretty reasonable. For the number of hours I have spent on Trackmania, I have zero issue paying $60 every 3 years for more fucking Trackmania. Like, that's like I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah, it's
Seems
not.
like a good price for that kind of game, which is very much a game that even you, like somebody who played a lot of Trackmania when it came out, but like can kind of dip back in as a comfort food. and
Totally,
just like,
yeah.
Oh,
Like,
I
I'll
wanna spend
fall
this
away
few
from
days playing-
Trackmania for like a full year, and then go like, it's Trackmania.
Yeah.
And honestly, at this point, I feel like I owe them that amount of money, like for the number of hours I have gone back to those other games that were like $20 when they came out. I'm just like, put this money in the Trackmania bucket and keep making this weird shit. Someone needs to. So hopefully all that stuff with the server stuff pans out. I think that's the stuff I want to see firsthand before I kind of feel truly good about it. But it seems like it's very much headed in the right direction. I think the gameplay changes they've put in here are neat, and the new pieces in the track editor are good. That's my short version. Trackmania seems cool.
I wonder if that could be a Ubisoft forward kind of timed launch thing. Just sort of announce like, the new Trackmania is out now.
When they pushed it, they gave it a new date.
Oh, okay.
So let me see if I still have that. It's out July 1st.
Okay, I think that's before Forward. That's the name of their event, right?
Yes, Ubisoft Forward.
Yes. Onward.
Far Cry Onward.
Oh boy, we'll get there.
Okay.
Don't worry. Let's see. Well, having closed that thread of games again, guys want to talk? Oh, here we go. Do you guys want to talk about PSO2 on PC? Is there anything to say there? It runs at a better frame rate.
It's
on Steam?
fucked up.
Oh.
It's fucked up. It's not on
It's
Steam.
Messy. Yeah, it was a rough.
Wait, it's not on Steam?
No, it's on
What?
the Microsoft Store.
Oh,
So I shouldn't dive into this.
You should. It's
No,
good. And
no.
the thing.
Don't do it.
Actually, I think that the problem with it is something they said they were going to fix tomorrow. So, the installer was funky. A lot of people had a lot of problems getting it running.
I
this
can't
is not
even
these
download more than like, I don't know, 100 megabytes at a fucking time before it times out, and
Right.
it's just it's
some
Oof.
people are using the PSO2 tweaker for the Japanese version of the game to download the North American version,
Oh my god.
and you
What?
can you might be able to do that, but you have to
Play
be
a
on Windows
different
10
game!
because it needs Xbox like client services or whatever to log in, because it has all the Xbox, like they gutted all the stuff from the Japanese PSO2 on
Wow.
PC, but it still has the same fucked up looking launcher, and like it's still this very funky thing. Okay, so people have had problems downloading and installing it. That's a fucking bummer. And then when you get in game, when you get into the lobby, it basically is like constantly trying to load in the high res versions of all the other players in the lobby, and it hitches bad every time it tries that. So basically it was just like the game just seizes up and stops for like a couple of seconds, and then you turn a little bit, and then it's got to load someone else in now, and then it stops.
Oh,
So
man.
there's a slider you can try to set it down to be like, hey, I only want to see 5 high res models at a time, and in the lobby that mitigates it somewhat, but not completely.
Chat
And
says
once you're
a
in
lot of
mission,
work
once
for-
you're in mission, not a problem.
Chat says the PSO tweaker fixes that lobby problem.
Really? I tried
Shouldn't
that,
that be
and I
built
tried
into
that
the
and it did not.
game?
Huh.
I tried that and it did not fix it. So I don't know if they've added a specific new feature to it since I tried it last. But anyway, they said, hey, we're aware that it's funky, and we've got a fix. And this was a while ago now, so this is like less of a big deal now. But I'm pretty sure what they said was like, and it's going to go out with our June 10th server update. And that was like at the time, like kind of a ways away. And it was like, fuck, this sucks. Like this sucks to be in this lobby. Because it's not like it caches it all once and then you're good. Or maybe it's better now because like we're kind of out of that initial launch window. So some players have shaken loose. Like these servers were slammed full. Like it was kind of crazy to see a lot of people being psyched about PSO2. It was like this very heartwarming thing about like, yeah, man.
Yeah.
I was right. Me. And maybe now that some of that's thinned out a little bit, maybe it's less of a thing. But Yeah, not exactly the silky smooth launch you wanted that to be, but that will, assuming they fix that, and I presumably they will. That will be the version to play.
Got the Windows Store open right now with my mouse hovering over the get button, and I just can't commit.
Get.
I just can't.
Get.
Should I get right in the middle of this podcast?
No,
I know.
Get it
I
too.
wouldn't use the bandwidth.
Oh my goodness.
Streaming?
You're on fiber. Yeah,
That's
you got
true. I
gigabit.
could probably.
Yeah,
I
fiber
could,
boys.
I could probably get right now if I wanted to,
Yeah.
but I and is that plays with the Xbox version? I assume
It does. Yes.
and like
yes.
progress back and forth and all that shit.
All the same thing. It has achievements. So they've cobbled achievements into this clearly not built for this version of this game. It's weird, man. It's weird, like having played that old Japanese version to see like there's a lot of English in the launcher. There's a lot of English text that you look at it and go like, oh, this came off a Japanese computer that had installed some English fonts. It looks janky in that way, like
Weird-
the progress bars,
ASCII
and stuff are
characters
just
and-
like
It makes me
Yeah.
want it more.
it's good. It's but also legit. It's a good game. There's a lot to figure out and a lot to wrap your mind around.
There's a lot of free to play stuff that you've got to sift through and wade through.
Totally.
And if that is not your thing, if that is a huge turnoff, it's egregious. Like it's really, really bad.
There's a lot of opportunities to spend money in that game, but
Yeah.
you can make some sexy anime ladies in that game.
Yeah,
That
like
all
I was starting to back away from it, and then I noticed that the anime lady's got pointy ears, and I was like, maybe I should get after all.
That's what that game is. Like that
Oh.
game is like halfway. Like that game is a fashion game. That is Fashion Star Online 2. That is fucking dress up your fucking.
Did you get claws? Did you get claws on your?
There's
Oh,
a.
yeah.
I think the campaign for it might be over now, but the launch window
man.
was like you got like
Naze
Naze
claws.
claw.
Man,
Could I
as
get a
weapon
sexy
camo.
anime lady that wears a mech suit?
Yes. You could make a semi mech lady.
You can make a robot lady.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I finished episode 1 of the story, which involved watching a zillion cutscenes in a row with very little gameplay in between. And at the end of that, I got a cape.
Fuck.
Yeah.
all right, okay.
My robot has a boy's body instead of a robot body because I paid money for the Sonic the Hedgehog pack. And
How much was that? $30?
30, I think.
Ooh.
30 bucks?
Ooh.
Yeah. It came with some premium set and some other, it's
Right.
hey. I'll tell you this though, my head sure does look like a Sega Saturn.
That is cool.
I have replaced
is
my
cool.
head with a giant, but it's not like the exact dimensions. It's not the height of a real Sega Saturn. Instead,
no.
it's like if the Saturn fucked a GameCube. And
Uh-huh.
so it's like a really tall Sega Saturn, and the front of it is staring at you, but the head is a block. And
This feels like I'm in a room full of my friends talking about a multi-level marketing scam that they've all gotten wrapped up in.
hey, look, everyone brushes their teeth, right? This toothpaste is better than the other toothpaste, and this toothpaste sells itself, man. How many can I put you down for? You're gonna
2
get out there.
boxes to
Yeah,
start.
great. Okay, we'll get you 2 boxes to start. You get out there. You just go door to door around your neighborhood. Get people on board with this toothpaste, which, as I said, is high quality toothpaste.
Tell them about
Everyone
the
needs
power
toothpaste.
of baking soda.
Yeah, it's
Baking soda
whitening.
is
It's
pretty
natural.
How many
Uh,
crystals does it have?
It's got the crystal content, the crystalline content. These crystals are going to scrub against the teeth. Does not hurt the enamel,
Ooh, baby.
and it's a quality product. It's a quality product.
Unlike Phantasy Star Online 2.
Get.
In all honesty,
No, man.
just in the
No.
interest of full disclosure, but then I remembered that I am archiving this very podcast to my games drive. And
Let's
You
not
need the
tempt
space.
fate.
perhaps installing this game to the same drive that I'm recording this podcast on is not a good idea. So
Well,
Also, maybe wait till it's fixed.
I have to defer my getting for a bit.
Oh, but that's just tomorrow, right?
that
I guess.
hopefully.
Yeah, maybe. Also, well, I closed the window, but I typed Phantasy Star into the search in the Windows Store, and the 1st thing that came up was some fan-made like PSO2 events app.
Yep.
Like they
Need to know when the urgent quests are happening.
happening.
When is Kuna going to be singing in the shops? You need to watch that
Is that-
because you get a boost.
Does that thing just
Isn't
like
Hatsune actually going to make an appearance?
I think.
Oh,
she
don't
did.
tell me that. Don't tell me
Yeah,
Yeah.
that.
Hatsune Miku. You can purchase some Hatsune Miku and her friends' looks, I think.
Well, I just got
No, Jan.
Jan,
You were supposed to.
Ben, you know my personality. You know
Get!
how I am.
But now literally everyone else has gotten.
Everybody getting.
Get!
I will
It's
never
good.
get.
It's a good
I
game.
got and I got away.
The free to play shit is it's egregious, and as we've said before, it's got stuff like, hey, you can only take on 20 quests at a time unless you are a premium member, and then you can take on 40. And
I only need to do 20 a day, right?
Full on stamina stuff and man.
Energy.
no, there's no real energy
Okay.
type stuff in there. Like, it's not that. It's bad in plenty of ways. Don't get me wrong, but
Get it, got it, good.
good.
Not good. Bad.
Get it, got it, bad.
It is rated 2 stars on the Windows Game
Okay.
Store.
All right, sure. Sounds about
Yeah,
right.
Phantasy Star Online 2.
2.
2
Right.
star. Yeah.
Yes,
There we
two,
go.
two,
Yeah,
Yes, two
yeah.
for yes. Oh boy. I started to talk about my experience with Destiny on Saturday morning, but maybe I'll save that for the news section.
God, I forgot that even happened.
Now,
Yeah.
I had completely
Don't feel
blocked
old.
out that hour and a half.
Played Destiny 2 for about an hour and a half on Saturday morning.
Ah.
By played, I mean stood in the tower and
You
stared at the
looked up.
skybox.
You played it as much as me following along, you guys talking about it in Discord played it.
I mean, I got that emblem. After they took the chunk out of the tower, I ran over there and got that emblem, and then I quit
Yep.
Destiny. So that was the first time I've played it in 6 months, but there was something kind of entertaining about eyeballing those lasers flying through space and going like, are they getting bigger? Are they getting closer? I think they're moving.
I
And then when
think they're
Travis Scott
moving.
showed up, it was just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that was a weird. We'll get to that. They announced a bunch of stuff this morning. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. But I think we were planning to talk about Xenoblade Chronicles last week and forgot because I think Austin had been playing it. Is that right, Ben? I know you've been playing it
Yeah.
too, but now I think Jan sounds like Jan's also playing it.
I haven't touched it anymore since then.
Oh. So say
Likewise.
everything. Whoa.
Well,
Jan, why don't
I
you just say what happened to you, which kind of almost mirrors my.
I want to preface by saying I really like Xenoblade Chronicles 2. And that's the only Xenoblade Chronicles game I've ever played. I fired this one up last night, and that being said, it was late.
This is the one from the Wii, just to be clear. Is that right?
Wii U?
Wii U, I want to say.
Okay.
And I fell asleep during the first hour of the game. But I think that's because I was a little tired.
Jan, I don't think it was you. I don't know. I played like 8 to 10 hours of this. I went in completely blind. I didn't know anything
Shulk
about
is-
this game.
Wait,
This is where Shulk is from,
This is
right?
the origin
Right?
of Shulk?
This is Shulk.
Shulk's not
Boy.
a Fire Emblem?
I
No,
thought he
he's
was
not
a
a
Fire
Fire Emblem.
Emblem.
So the reason you can tell he's not a Fire Emblem.
Wait,
is
Shulk's a
because
he?
He has like a cool costume where he doesn't have a shirt on, and they would never let Fire Emblem characters do that.
In my head, for some reason, Shulk always makes me think of She-Hulk. So
Yeah.
in my head, Shulk has always been a woman,
Green,
not
yep.
knowing what She-Hulk,
lawyer.
not knowing what
Green
Shulk looks
lawyer,
like,
yeah.
not retaining any information about what a Shulk is. I always thought Shulk was an anime lady.
I just think it's kind of boring. I don't know. The combat is very MMO-y. It's very
Yeah.
just wait for your cooldowns, run around, you auto attack your enemies so you don't have to like you're only focused on your skills. You know, it's got a party system so you can have other people do I don't know. It's just not for
Who's
me.
the
It's
developer
really
on
not
this?
for me.
Is that
forget.
Monolith Soft, I want to say?
Monolith stuff. Okay.
I could be wrong. I just pulled that out of thin air.
That sounds right.
Chat said that this is the Wii game. This one was on the Wii
Okay.
first, and I think 2 or X or whatever the other one after this one was a Wii U game, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, this is totally just like single player MMO type thing, right? Like just mobs just hanging out in the world that you just run around and.
With a lot of British screaming the same
Oh,
lines
yeah.
Yeah,
over
that's-
and
yeah,
over
that's how-
again.
I remember
Oh
that.
my
The second
god,
game
it's
was.
unbearable. It's truly like I don't know which has turned me off of it more, the combat or the voice acting.
You should check out Phantasy Star Online 2. It has
Oh boy.
shitty British voice acting.
Nobody's
Mhm.
scattering anything to the four corners right now, so maybe I
Well,
should check that out.
Yeah, that is garbage.
I don't mind the voice acting so much in like cutscenes and stuff. Like it definitely took some adjustment and completely surprised me not knowing that. I don't know. Somebody tweeted at me that like basically the story went that America didn't want to localize it, and so like the EU team had to just kind of go out and get local voice actors.
That's how I remember that story going. Now that you
Um,
mention it, like, yeah, that does sound familiar.
So there was definitely some adjustment there, but then like they just shout the same lines over and over and over in combat. And I knew when like I tweeted about it and 4 different people sent me like the same meme of it's Rhine time. And like the 6th time I heard it in the first battle, I was just like, okay, this is gonna be the whole game. And yeah, man, I can't it seems like a game that if you like that kind of game, if you are in for you get to the first town and you pick up like 20 quests. There's like 15 different people you can link and trade with. There's, tons of huge areas to explore. It's really pretty, I will say. Some of those like the backgrounds and the vistas are really good looking, but it seems like a game that I could easily, if I liked it, spend 100 hours on like that, but it's just not clicking.
I'll give it another shot. First thing in the morning.
You should check out if you want to take on 20 quests. Can I recommend Phantasy Star Online 2?
Can I make Shulk in Phantasy Star Online too?
You can make whatever you want. You got symbol chat at your disposal, so even if you can't make Shulk, you could literally make Shulk come out of your mouth.
What?
That button.
You heard me.
That button just says "get" on it. It's very appealing. Like it just
Yeah.
makes you want to click it. Right above that, it says "free plus."
Yeah.
Free with a little plus symbol next to it. Like what?
That's like Apple has something
Yes,
similar.
yes, I
and,
know
like,
what it
everyone
means.
with
It's
their
just
like. I
Oh,
guess
it's free.
it's technically better than just saying it's free, but it's such a non-word or such a like a. Oh,
Yeah.
you can pay for stuff. There's a better. There's
Yeah.
a better way.
Yes. Contains in-app purchases, you might say.
Little bit.
Oh boy. All right. What else we got here? Ben, you've been playing Monster Train. Jan, you've been playing Umurangi Generation.
Yep.
Jason, you're
Yes.
gobbling shit up as a shark.
Chomp chomp.
Who's,
Wanna hear
who's-
about it?
who's having
Oh,
fun?
yeah.
Who's having fun here?
I'm having a little bit of
I
fun.
want to hear about
and
these sharks.
We like
Yeah,
fun.
it took a little while to get into this game. So it's like an open world like shark RPG,
Maneater is,
and
is
it
the
is
game we're talking
is what's that?
about. Maneater is the game we're talking
Maneater,
about.
yeah, and it is just as like tongue in cheek as you could imagine. Like you're jumping up on beaches and just like chopping through a bunch of the beach human folk, and it gets bloody and ridiculous, and it's a good time. It's very therapeutic. If maybe you wanted to chomp some people that are hanging out on beaches, you have that opportunity. But as I said, it is an open world RPG, and I struggled a little bit in the beginning because they wanted you to do some story quests that I was just like not into, some busy work or whatever.
Mhm.
So I went to the next area, which was opened up, and I was hoping that I would get more quests there. It didn't happen that way. I had to go back and complete all of those quests before.
Who is giving quests to a shark?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Other sharks.
What are the quest givers?
Kind of the narrator, I guess.
Okay.
There's a narrator constantly quipping in your ear, and it runs into like repeated dialogue every now and again. But for the most part, it's pretty welcome.
Is
It
it
gives
just
a little
like
comedic context to stuff.
you sure ate that guy? Like, how often does the narrator say they're going to need a
So he's
bigger
not
boat?
commenting in particular on like what you're doing exactly at that time. Like it's just like, oh, the stomach of bull shark is just made of garbage essentially.
Okay.
And it's not like, wow, you just took out that boat. He's not talking.
Wait, do I understand correctly that the narrator is Chris Parnell?
I don't know. I guess
It
so.
is.
Okay.
It is.
Okay, that's interesting. All right, sure.
That's cool.
I was
but
hoping for like more of a Tim Kitzrow kind of like NBA Jam
Yeah.
delivery of like
That's
"You just ate those
awesome!"
motherfucker. Yeah, like just
Yeah.
that type of dumb.
that would be kind of cool
Yeah.
after a while. So it's a little more linear than I expected in that you do need to wrap up all of these quests in an area before you go on to the next one. So you're completing a checklist. You're doing some busy work. You're also fighting like a boss type character, which is like the apex. There's like an apex barracuda or an apex orca, which just fucking trounced me last night. Oh my god, we need to fight that thing again.
Apex Orc is not like a Metal Gear Solid bad guy.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Have you tried
and then,
plugging your mouse into port 2 of your PC?
And then you've got an overarching bad guy called Scaly Pete. He's a shark hunter, essentially.
Scaly Pete.
Scaly Pete.
Oh man, Jason, I gotta say, I watched you play some of this, and then hearing all of this makes me wonder why I have not played this game yet.
It's good dumb fun, for sure, and it's been therapeutic.
Is Scaly Pete a lizard, or do they have like eczema or something?
Well, I don't know. Actually, he just looks a little scaly. I guess he's got a scaly personality.
I see.
He's being filmed as a documentary, like like a History Channel kind of TLC, like a Shark Week kind of thing, and they're following him around, as he's hunting sharks and stuff. So he finds this one shark in the beginning. It's a mama shark, and he kills it and rips out its belly, and there's a little baby shark in there. That's you. You start off as this little baby shark. And then you eventually grow into, bigger and bigger things like, teenager, adult, and you're really evolving. Like you're getting these like bone fins and like bioelectric teeth. So it's been
EVO or something.
It's been fun watching that evolution kind of take place. It took a little while to get into because I wasn't making that story progression. But once I started getting, fucking bone fins, it's pretty ridiculous and awesome. So I like the game. It's surprisingly fun.
Cool.
But yeah, check out some of my streams. I think we're gonna keep playing it for a while.
Cool.
Yeah.
Baby shark.
Yep.
Don't know. God, why
No.
would you do
I
that?
didn't do it.
Son
I didn't
of
do
a-
it.
I just said baby shark.
God,
Jason
damn, that's
said it
all
earlier.
That's all it
Yeah.
takes. Yeah, but you said it the right way. You said it that certain way that it just fuck, man. I hate that thing.
There's an R&B version of that song that's actually pretty good.
Okay.
sure.
If I can replace the spot in my neurons where a baby shark is contained and replace it with that, then
It'll never go away. We used to sing that song at the summer camp I worked at 15 years ago, and it's still.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow! I thought it was a more recent thing. Wow.
I know.
Wait, what?
I could have been the one to record Baby Shark and make, I assume, $1 trillion. Like,
Wow. I thought it was a Pink Fong thing that
I
came out.
I am like,
Yeah,
I'm
it's
like,
an oldie.
there's a whole dance.
speechless right
Baby
now.
Shark,
Yeah.
Daddy Shark, Grandma Shark.
Same song?
Yeah.
I am like, I don't know what to say right now. Let's just move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
fair.
Do you guys want to touch on Umurangi Generation Monster Train a little bit before we move on?
I feel like we talked about both games a lot last week. With Umurangi Generations, music is so dang good in that. My only gripe with it in my time playing is some of the photo objectives are very hyper specific, and I don't know if it's like maybe like a hitbox type of thing, but like I would swear that like I'm doing what they're asking me to do, like I'm using the specific lens or I'm exactly right up on it, whatever they want me to take a picture of, but it's not registering. I don't know if it's a specific angle or whatever, but that's been like the only gripe where I'd have to like tailor how I'm taking the picture exactly. But everything else, it's been great. It gets surprisingly kind of heavy really fast for a game that doesn't really have any isn't like there's no exposition in the game. You're just like observing everything that's going on and stuff, because you go from like, oh, here's a fun rooftop with my friends to, oh, here's a memorial for all these people that had died due to violence.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, music's great though.
Are we at the point where everybody who grew up with Pokemon Snap has come of age and made a video game?
We're getting there.
Yeah.
Because it
Yeah,
feels,
that's
feels,
about-
feels like there's a lot of games about taking pictures of stuff all of a sudden.
But there were, I mean, well, it was like Fatal Frame
Yeah,
Right.
isn't
kind of.
new.
Yeah,
Sure. There's definitely like
That was
seems
for like
different.
creepers, though. That's for
Dead
sickos.
Rising.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, sure.
Pokemon Snap. also for sickos.
It's one of the top 3 Pokemon games.
Agreed. It's the top 1 Pokemon game.
For
Sorry,
for
GM.
sickos.
Speaking as a sicko, Pokemon Snap's incredible.
I've only ever played it at a Blockbuster.
And then yeah, I've been going hard on Monster Train. Not much more to say. I've unlocked almost all the stuff now. I really like how they handle leveling. You know, they kind of every time you play as a certain clan, you get more experience for it. This is if you didn't listen last week, it's a kind of rogue card builder, randomly generated thing. I really like how they approach difficulty in this game, where they have something called Covenant. And so basically once you beat the game once with any combination, you'll unlock the ability to go in through the Covenant ranks. And instead of so basically if you're playing without any Covenant ranks, you get you choose your 2 clans, and it builds you kind of the same deck every time out of cards from those 2 clans. But the way they handle Covenant ranks is they start throwing in random cards into your deck that might even be cards you haven't unlocked for your clan yet. So it's okay, you're going to come in with the standard deck plus 3 copies of this card, 2 copies of this card, and 1 copy of this other card. And it kind of forces it's interesting because it doesn't scale the enemies really or anything. The difficulty is all just how do you deal with these random elements being added to your deck. And it's hard. I've only gotten to Covenant rank 2. I've put 40 hours into the game, and
Wow.
I barely squeezed by the 2nd Covenant rank once. And there's
What
25
classes
of them.
or what clans have you been rolling with since you've unlocked more?
I really like the last clan you get. It's a bunch of candle guys. Their whole thing is they have a passive called Burnout, which means they'll die after a certain number of turns. They seem like the kind of direct equivalent to the black cards in Magic. They're kind of all about bringing cards back from your graveyard and stuff like that, dealing damage to themselves, that sort of thing. But yeah, it's still my perfect in between game. I like that I can stop halfway through a run and come back to it, and it'll all come back fairly quickly. You can look at your deck at any time, so I'm not ever hitting that thing of oh God, I started this run yesterday and I came back the next day and I don't really know what I'm doing. No, it's very easy to put down, pick up, and play.
I've got to try that thing. I've seen y'all talking about it so much.
Yeah,
And
same.
It's really good.
I like
I thought
Slay the
visually, I
Spire
thought it
a
looked
lot.
really cool. I was watching you play a little bit of it. I was like, this. It's got kind of neat style to it. I guess I don't know.
That's a controversial statement.
Well, in the 5 minutes I watched of it, the 2 takeaways I had were this looks neat. I'm never gonna play this. So
It's only on PC right now, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen the developer talk about porting it to
Yeah.
a Switch or a console soon.
I find myself getting just unreasonably irritated when that kind of game launches only on PC because
Yeah,
I don't want to.
I would love to play this game on my couch.
Even
Totally. I don't wanna-
iOS, on an iPad.
Yeah,
would be
totally. An
great.
iPad version. I just don't want to sit at a desk to play a game like that. But
It has made me consider setting up my Steam Link. That's how
yeah, I
awful
was
my situation
wondering.
is.
You still can't do that on an iPad, right? They shut that whole thing down, right?
no, it's
Is that back?
There is a Steam app that
It's like Moonlight or something. No, that's the
no,
Android
there's
one.
a Steam specific app that
I thought
I think I still have
I
installed.
thought Apple shut that down because of the whole storefront in a storefront kind of thing.
I think what they did is they just took away the store,
Oh.
the modified it. But I have the Steam Link app installed.
Oh,
so
shit.
At some point, it did
Yeah.
exist.
I wonder how that thing maps mouse and mouse controls to touch. I wonder if that's actually possible to play.
It is.
Really?
I've definitely seen people saying I'm fucking playing Counter-Strike on a touch screen
Holy
over
shit.
here.
Wow.
Because that's clearly the way it was meant to be.
Oh my
played.
god!
Sickos.
Oh, that sounds awesome. I am 100% going to try to play Monster Train on my iPad. Then
Yeah, I might try that too.
that sounds cool. All right, yeah. Everybody good? I think we hit everything on the list. It's a highly professional agenda that I just rolled in here with a list of games. We talked about
this
all of
is
them.
podcasting.
That's right. We figured it out.
I'm excited
Yes. About
upcoming video games.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
sure. They're
Well,
great.
I had some news for you, Jeff.
Yeah,
We're gonna take a break.
great.
Whoa,
I love
shit,
it.
he's,
That'll give
reading
me
my mind.
time to be excited about video games in private.
What are you going to do?
Nothing.
Oh, okay.
We'll talk later.
Some big
We're all
searching.
gonna sit here silently staring at the camera.
Just going to go sit for a little bit. Okay. All right. Well, yeah. On that note, why don't we take a break then and come back and talk about some other stuff?
All right.
Jason, you seem to have a little bit of a situation going on. I don't know what you
Yeah,
were up to
yeah,
during the break.
Don't mind me. I told this guy that I was taller than him, and he didn't like that at
No,
all.
It's
So,
not to seem like a gentleman you want to get on the bad side of.
dude, I can't get my camera to work. So this is gonna be me.
Yeah.
This is gonna be me from here on out.
Sorry about that. Webcam.
Yeah.
Not behaving.
Thing. No, not at all.
But
Did he at least wash his hands first?
Yes.
Okay, good.
it's conscientious of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. Who is that?
Oh, that's Kane Hodder. He played Jason in a bunch of.
Oh, wow.
Friday the 13th
Oh,
movies.
yeah, I've heard that name. Shit. I thought he would be taller. But then again, you're pretty tall. So
exactly.
that makes sense. All right. Fog gaming
Oh,
is the word in the
Oh
news
my
this
God.
week.
Do you remember last week
Uh-huh.
when we were like just spitballing what could possibly be going on with Sega?
Hmm?
We had so many, every Dreamcast game released on Steam, like
A,
you know,
a virtual on cabinet in every home.
yeah.
Microsoft's gonna buy them and do that, and it's gonna be the Sega Series
the,
X.
The Sega
Yeah.
Xbox will be hitting the
Yeah.
Asian markets. Yes, the announcement that was said to rival the importance of the PlayStation 5 scoop seems to be the idea that Sega is going to turn Japanese arcades into de facto data centers to stream video games.
That's better than mining Bitcoin, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. Well, I don't know which one would be more profitable at this point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they call it fog gaming.
Welcome to the
Fog
vapor
Right.
chamber.
Yep,
Fog
that's right.
gaming.
You guys ready to upload your saves to the fog?
Yeah, no, I've been in the
Ready to
fog
live
for
in the
years.
fog.
Yeah,
It's
so
everything.
I'm fine with
In the
this.
future, everything will take place in the fog.
Yeah. So I guess
Um,
what the idea is like, hey, no one is going to arcades right now
Yeah.
because a lot of them are closed, but
Yes.
also a lot of those machines sit idle at night. So why not with that, or with just some combination of rack mount server somewhere else? Who knows? But the idea being, what if people could play these games from their home?
Right. Did they say for
Via the
sure it's
dog.
like you would be playing those games specifically, or just using that horsepower to play games?
My
Dot, dot, dot,
understanding
dot.
my understanding is that it was for games that they will make in the future, not even necessarily like, hey, we're going to retrofit VF5 with this stuff, but maybe they do a Virtua Fighter 5 Fog edition. I was going to say VF6, but let's not be fucking crazy here.
Right. Yeah.
That would be it would be too cool of them to make an actual sequel to Virtua Fighter. So why do it now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, like
It's,
they don't come out and say this came out of the pandemic, but it very much has that feel to me of like they're just sitting around letting this real estate go to waste.
Yeah, can
And
you
then they're
find
like-
new ways? And Sega has owned arcades. I'm sure they probably still do
Yeah.
own some arcades. So this seems like a way for them to potentially have those locations earning some kind of profit when they're closed due to either whether it's a pandemic situation or just nighttime. Sure.
Because like
sure.
if you don't know, in Japan, the arcade scene is very much still a thing. That it
Yeah.
like unlike it in America, where it's only barcades now and
Right,
Dave and
yeah.
Buster's.
Right.
God.
Yeah. Arcades still exist to a certain extent over there. It doesn't seem like they're necessarily getting like a ton of new releases, but it is happening.
Were you familiar with this? What is the name of it? All.net. AllNet. It's like the Sega online like arcade platform that you can
No.
subscribe to. Apparently, like it.
It has a bunch of old games on it too, right? This is like
Maybe.
basically like you get an AllNet, you get a cabinet that supports the platform, and then you can kind of rotate games in and out as an operator.
I would
that what
believe
it
that.
is?
I didn't
Yeah.
look too much into it, but I would.
It's like that. Was it like Nessica Live or whatever? There's a few different platforms, arcade platforms out there.
I guess they've dabbled with that stuff for years, right? Even like when we were going to TGS ages ago, there were games where you could like track your profile across sessions and stuff like that.
Right,
Yeah.
but this is there's AllNet is I'm reading up on it here real quick.
It almost sounds like an Xbox Live for arcade games kind of situation, right? Of like this Ars Technica story says,
Yeah.
like it allows for online competitions, lets players track rankings, profiles, high scores across machines throughout the country.
Yeah, that sounds more like it's grown out of like the VFNet stuff
Right.
from Virtua Fighter 4, like the cards and all that sort of stuff, like you were just talking about. Yeah, so maybe it sounds a little bit more like that. Where I thought, okay, so also, yeah, it is a game distribution system, from the looks of it. So yeah, there are game, like basically you can, you can buy a cabinet and then easily update it with a different game if you're an operator, and then
That's pretty cool.
yeah, I don't think it's necessarily like a player picks on the fly, like from the list of games,
Right.
downloads it on the fly or anything. It's more like the operators probably choose what games are there, but it's a game distribution method for like, hey, let's just use the internet to do this stuff instead of having to buy
Setting up boards and stuff.
yeah, chips and hard drives and whatever else. Now that all these like modern arcade machines it's just PCs in there at this
Yep.
point. So yeah, that all sounds very doable, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. That seems neat. I'm
It's
going to
neat.
pull up a list of all the all-net games. So yeah, it's like DOA 5, DOA 5 Last Round, Melty Blood.
Oh, so it's not just Sega games.
No, it's not. Unial, Phantom Breaker, stuff like that. So
God, right? Yeah, I forgot. Like a ton of those fighting games are still hitting arcades over there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I
Or
mean,
at
not
least some
yeah,
of them.
They're still coming to our arcades in some form,
Right.
and I think this distribution method, stuff like this, stuff like Nesca Live and all that, like probably makes it possible for like these teams to go like, oh well, yeah, we don't have to go manufacture boards for Melty Blood anymore. We can just make the game on this existing platform, and if operators want it, they can get it.
Honestly, the less work you have to spend on Melty Blood, the better.
Yeah, the game gets better the less work is done to it, probably too. But yeah, so that's cool. The fog gaming thing, I don't know.
Yeah, I
whatever,
mean, it's like kind of a
sure.
neat creative idea that would have
Yeah.
been way better without a lot of this hype attached to it.
Well, yeah. So what was that? Was like Famitsu, like columnist or something, right? Or was it?
I want
like,
to say that guy was not affiliated with Famitsu.
I think he was just an analyst.
Like, I think he's a tech writer in Japan.
Okay.
But I want to say
I thought it was a tech
I
writer
want to say
that-
Famitsu had the scoop, but he was like talking about
he
it.
was saying, "Hey,
Yes.
Famitsu was gonna." Okay, that's what it was.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So this is it's a neat little thing, but it's
Yeah.
not something to get like super crazy about.
Right. Also extremely only applicable to Japan.
Right,
Like
totally.
does not affect this market or most markets at all because we don't have the arcade infrastructure.
Yeah.
Also, Japan obviously benefits from being like small geographically, so like latency is not a huge problem when you don't have to cover big distances and stuff. So like,
But we'll see, just like culturally, how something like this does. I
Yeah.
know, like like people go to arcades, like in times when you can just go places and do things. People go to arcades and play games in person,
and smoke cigarettes.
and smoke cigarettes away, not next to each other like we do here, like on a machine on the opposite side, so you never have to actually look the other person in the face or
yeah.
any kind of contact with them. So, like honestly, Japanese arcades were social
Very
distancing
forward.
for decades.
Yeah,
true.
Yeah, forward thinking.
Yeah,
That's right.
So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's,
but
it's kind of a cool thing. We'll see.
Yeah.
Where it goes.
Mhm.
Just prior to that news coming out, the first piece of Sega news that hit that everybody thought was the big news was the Game Gear Micro, which is
I'm so confused.
a lot of things, but it's not big.
It is
I-
not big. Yeah.
The
it's
Game Gear was like my
half the
first
size.
console.
Wait, what?
wow.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Run me down the list.
Yeah.
Of, like what
Look
Game
how
Gear
small
games
it
do you have
is.
fondness
Yeah,
for?
yeah. What were your formative Game Gear games? I need to
that
know.
small.
That's
Sonic. There was I think there was something like Golden Axe.
Yeah.
There was a Power Rangers game that was pretty cool. God, what else was there? Was there a Shinobi? I might just be misremembering that.
there was
I think
probably
so.
there were probably versions of most say big Sega games, right?
Yeah. There was a Columns, I think. Maybe.
Hell yeah.
Maybe.
Do you think any of those games would hold up today if you went back to them now?
Maybe.
Oh.
Maybe a handful of them. Maybe
Wow.
like 4 of them. I'd put.
Dude,
I'd
this
have a
assemble
Rise
together.
this game is called Axe Battler: A Legend.
Battler.
Axe Battler: A Legend of Golden Axe. That is a
Oh yeah, that's the
that
one.
is a metal as fuck video game name.
Battler.
That's pretty good.
Uh,
So yeah, this thing is Japan only for now, right? They haven't announced it for anywhere else, I don't believe.
I believe so.
But it is it's $50. There's 4 colors. The colors are black, blue, yellow, and red.
Yes.
Mhm.
And each model, each color has a different set of 4 games on it.
I don't understand that.
So
It sounds like a keychain. It sounds like the sort of thing
I
that
think
should be a damn keychain.
If you watch the trailer, I think it's straight up got one of those little notches on the corner where you could connect it to a keychain.
Yeah.
Yeah, like to
It's
me,
like a cell phone charm or
totally,
something.
totally. Like
Yeah.
this thing.
We have to run down the color game.
Okay, all right. So the black model has Outrun, Puyo Puyo 2, Royal Stone, whatever that is, and Sonic the Hedgehog.
Pretty good.
The blue model, Bakupaku Animal,
There you go.
Gunstar Heroes.
Fuck
Okay.
yes.
This is Game Gear Gunstar Heroes.
Okay,
though. It's-
yes. All of these are Game Gear blanks.
Yes.
If you're buying this, you have to know going in you're getting a Game Gear version of it.
Sonic and Tails, and Sylvan Tale.
I just looked up Bakupaku Animal. This game looks incredible.
Bakupaku is great. Bakupaku
Yeah.
is basically Puzzle Fighter in a lot of ways. It's very
It's like
similar,
Puzzle Fighter with like earliest computer graphics.
but like yeah, exactly. Yes, play it on the Saturn. Don't play it on the damn Game Gear.
Yeah.
Play the arcade version of it.
Especially-
don't play it on Game Gear.
Especially a Game Gear that is 92% smaller than the original.
It's very small.
Like
This big.
so, like the yellow model sounds like the model that nobody should buy because it's all RPGs. It's
How would
Shining,
you read that text?
right? Shining Force Gaiden, Gaiden 2,
Oh wow.
Gaiden Final Conflict, and Nazo Puyo Aru no Ru.
Sure.
Holy
Stuff
smokes.
like that. Yeah.
I'm getting the yellow version.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it'll all be in Japanese too.
Yes.
So it's kind of
But I just
Perfect.
that screen is like I think the screen is 1.15 inches, which is smaller than the Game Boy Micro, which already
Good
was
Lord.
very difficult to play games on. Then the red model's got columns, Game Gear Shinobi, which is the actual title they have listed here. Megami Tensei Gaiden.
like what if Gigi Allen was a ninja? You would get Gigi Shinobi. No.
Megami Tensei Gaiden Last Bible Special, and Revelations the Demon Slayer.
The 6 AA batteries you would need to power up an original Game Gear is bigger than this. One of
Oh
these.
yeah, oh yeah.
Oh
Oops.
man.
I'm trying to find this one. 2 AAAs or a USB micro power adapter.
2 AAAs. Don't do this to me.
So that's the Game Gear Micro.
Wow.
It doesn't seem. I don't know, man. I don't think the Game Gear is good. I don't think with the possible exception of Coca-Cola Kid, which I found myself playing a couple of days ago, as I was checking through the Game Gear library and going like, is any of this worth a shit? Like, because like at this point, even a lot of those games that were like ports of other Sega games, there are better versions of those out there that you could play instead.
Yep.
And so, yeah, like what are games that are like only available on Game Gear that are still like good? I don't know. I haven't spent a ton of time with the Game Gear library, so maybe there's like something I'm missing. But like, I feel like a lot of the stuff I tried, it was just like the resolution on the Game Gear sucks. The sprites were always big, and that's like cool until you realize like, oh, I'm trying to play a platformer and I can't see a damn thing because the characters are too big. You know, it's like this zoomed in is I don't know, man. The Game Gear, it was color, but not much else.
But it's so look how little.
And also, yes, the littleness of it is not again like
I don't know if it's.
I guess in a world where like I bought a fucking small Nintendo and hooked it up once and then went like, that's a small Nintendo. Like a small Game Gear serves that purpose too. Like you don't need to play those games to look at it and go like, that's a small Game Gear. So maybe it works out in that context.
These are going to be co-opted into like the only way to securely pass information to other people. People are going to mod them, and they're small, so you can hide them on your person. And you're just
Yep.
gonna like hand the coordinates of the secret meetups to each other on these things. It's perfect.
It's like basically like Johnny Mnemonic, but if instead of he has to get that shit out of his head, he's like, I gotta get this shit out of my Game Gear.
Exactly.
And yeah,
Good luck with that.
Oh, there was a Tails game. for the Game Gear.
Was there?
Tails, like Miles Tails.
Miles or of
Miles Tails
Symphonia?
Power.
For
not
Miles Tails
Tails
Power.
of the-
Oh wow, yeah, this was great. Oh man, but it's not going to be on either 4 of those Game Gears.
I was
the secret 5th Game Gear. Don't worry.
I was not aware of this, but Ghost Cat in the chat says that there's some kind of magnifying screen for this thing.
Yeah,
right. Yeah,
magnifiers.
which
Magnifying
makes it
glass
as big as the
situation.
thing itself.
The Game Gear ever have a TV tuner? It didn't, right?
Yeah.
It did?
It did.
Yeah, it did.
I had one of those.
Oh, wow.
With an
okay.
antenna and everything.
Yeah.
I thought that was just the Turbo Express.
Just a remake of that that Pulp Fiction scene, except instead of a watch, he pulls out a Game Gear, a micro, and talks about the things he had to do to keep the Game Gear micro safe.
Ben, would it be painful for you to use this device for like an extended period of time?
Oh, totally. Like if this is, I looked at the measurements. This is about as accurate as you can get. So I can imagine even just holding it in my hand is going to force some sort of carpal tunnel issue.
Can I expense one of these to make Ben play it for an extended period of time once we can maybe get back to the office?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, let's break his hands.
Tight.
I'll have to be careful. I might accidentally inhale it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a legitimate thing someone has to worry about.
You could probably swallow that thing pretty easily.
Damn choking hazard.
This is us escalating, licking a Switch cartridge to its final conclusion.
Yeah.
Swallowing a micro Game Gear.
Yeah, that thing's silly. I wonder if Sega's going to have anything else going on around this 60th anniversary. Like, I feel like aren't they still out there doing like Sagata Sanshiro stuff, like showing, like, wasn't there a new
Yeah,
photo
like the son
him?
of Sagata Sanshiro commercial campaign. I don't know if they finished it or not, but
and weren't
it's
they like
very good.
weren't there like teases of VF6 at some point recently, or there was some
No,
weird
I think
hints at
it
a
was
Virtua
more
Fighter?
that it was like it ended up being like 60th anniversary of Sega. I
great.
don't know necessarily that it was an actual at the time before you knew what they were building up to. You were like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
mean,
think
like,
that turned out to be.
Who would even make a VF6 at this point?
I don't know. I don't know who is at Sega making video games anymore, other than the Yakuza team.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And the Total War. You know, like obviously, like the Atlas is making games out
Right.
there somewhere.
Computer games.
Yeah. Catherine 3.
Yes. All right, moving on. Quick update on E3 events or whatever you want to call them. Quasi E3, you know, the summer of game announcements.
I got an email about an actual E3 event today.
Wait, what?
That's weird.
What? It's like somebody forgot to update their copy from 3 months ago and just
No,
let it
it's
go
like
out.
it's a company is running a live stream. It's 505 is going to run a live stream about Assetto Corsa.
Oh.
And it's running on the E3 website.
Huh. Okay.
Like what?
Okay. Take what they can get at this point, I guess.
I don't know.
Sure.
All right. Yeah,
Why
it
not?
was just weird. It was just weird to see E3 used in any context
Yeah,
at all.
that is
It's
very-
like
that
that's
is-
bizarre.
That is extremely odd. Let's see, just some quick updates on some events. The PS5 event that was scheduled for last Thursday has been pushed to this Thursday at 1 p.m. Pacific.
We're going to talk over that. We're gonna
Giant
watch
Bomb
that.
will be there
We'll be
Yes.
there, quote unquote.
at our desks,
Yes.
watching that stream and
Naked.
talking over it. Yes, from the waist down.
Cranking it.
That's why I need the overlay, huh?
Yeah.
I thought this was kind of interesting. They put out a little update on the PlayStation blog just to announce the time change. Here's this quote. Now that the event is confirmed for June 11th, I wanted to add that this pre-taped program will be broadcast at 1080p and 30 frames per second. This eased the show's production process during a time when many of our team and developers are working from home. The games you'll see on Thursday will look even better when you play them on PS5 with a 4K TV.
Damn.
It's going to be a
Even
really
better.
hard thing.
Yeah, no, I mean,
to
it's not
show
wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To show the difference in some of that stuff.
Yeah.
But why 30 frames? That's really weird. Like
That sounds like they've got the people that are editing this video before it goes live don't have gigantic machines to
Yeah.
render the video
Yes.
out, right?
Or,
So they're
or
just like,
it's
well, if I
saved on bandwidth or something like
we knock it down to
sure.
30, it'll be easier to edit and crank through it, right?
somewhere in the production pipeline, because everybody's at home, they were not able to pull it off in a timely fashion.
And they probably have to send it back and forth to Japan like a dozen times.
Sure,
So
that's
for
fair.
approvals
Yeah.
and all that stuff. So
Oh,
at some
God.
point they probably are like, fuck it, let's
Yeah.
just.
Probably a good thing they got out there and said that, though, because people are looking for high frame rates right now.
Yeah.
Out of these boxes. Let's see, real quick, just as the PS5 event slid back a week, the Steam Game Festival and the EA Play Live, which were both scheduled for this week, have also done the same. Those will be next week now. I guess EA Play Live would have been today, right?
Today would be the
first day of E3. God,
we in a normal year we would know everything about this year of video,
right.
within reason. They probably wouldn't have announced pricing for consoles or some of that other stuff, but we would know a whole hell of a lot about software coming out this year by now.
Yeah. God, I
Instead of
remember
this weird black box that is just now video games. Just like, I don't know what's coming out. Fucking Halo.
I remember the day that they canceled E3. My first thought was like, oh my God, for the first time in 23 years, I'm gonna see what it's like to just have an uneventful early June.
Nope.
And now we're here.
Turns out,
like the E3 is the furthest thing from my mind.
Yeah.
So yeah. So yeah, I guess EA Play Live will be a week from today. Which I don't know what really to
UFC
expect.
4.
Yeah, we'll get there. There's some bunch of rumors starting to float around, which maybe makes sense now that a lot of these events are close to happening, and like probably people outside of companies are starting to get a whiff of things. Actually, yeah, you want to just roll into all those rumors now since we're talking about these events?
Sure, might as well.
Yeah, let's go ahead and cut to that. So, I'm not sure where to start because there's like 8 games now. UFC,
Well,
you mentioned.
this UFC thing, yeah. So I guess Gamatsu has this story saying that PS4 Patches, which is a site that is like kind of tracking things uploaded to Sony's network, pulled one of their kind of square box art things for something that just says UFC 4 Community Feedback Environment. It has a full logo on it. It was codenamed Magnum, which is great. And if I click through to the website here, apparently Magnum was 20.7 gigabytes.
Okay.
And
All right.
It's been patched a couple of times.
I would believe that for a new UFC game in 2020.
Yeah, so it sounds like that maybe they are doing something with kind of at-home testing for something that seems to be USB 4.
Yeah.
USB 4 would be exciting.
Yeah, man.
UFC 4. So, yeah, we'll see.
Because
That
UFC was
seems like
always
something they would probably announce. This is the time. There was never an annual franchise.
right.
So.
Like that was always an EA thing. They always had that deal, right?
Well, in recent history,
Or I
yes.
guess it was
Prior
like-
to that,
it
it
was
was
like
THQ
THQ, right.
and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But yeah.
Okay.
Do you think Dana White's private fight island will be a playable location?
No, they're
DLC.
saving that for DOA 7.
Okay. Since we're talking about EA, let's go here first. Let me just click through here. Yes,
Where's
I will. Yes, I will accept all of your cookies.
Give me the cookies.
So this and this stuff is super rumored, like very little substantiation on any of this stuff, but it is out there. And this website is breaking on me. Just give me just a second. So
Too many cookies.
Breaking!
Yes. Not just that, I'm trying to translate this thing as well. This stuff comes out of a site called Game Reactor in Denmark. Has run a story, and most of it sounds plausible enough that let's just kind of go through it.
Okay.
Since we were talking about EA, I'll mention they've got Mass Effect Trilogy Remastered on this list as something that's going to get announced and shipped this year.
Right. I feel like there was this. That's not the first time that we've heard that, right?
No,
Yeah.
that has been floating around a little bit here and there. This write-up specifically says that this is going to take the place of some of their traditional kind of fourth quarter big launches, or this would be one of those. So, like maybe one less brand new game from EA this year because they're putting this out. Doesn't have any information about like how much they'd be doing to it, like if it's just an up-res, if it's just basically the PC versions, or
Right.
if they're giving it like the full-on like remake all the assets treatment. But that's about all the info they have on that. Presumably, we would hear about that next week if it's happening.
Yeah.
The biggest new thing in this thing they put out, which some other sites have picked up and run with, although I haven't seen them say for sure that they've confirmed it, is that Far Cry 6 is the last of the big AAA games that Ubisoft is going to release, and I forget what was the time frame, by next March, I think by the end of
fiscal.
by the end of this fiscal year or something like that. Remember when they said like, oh, we're shipping
Right.
5 AAA games, and like 3 of them were already known because it was Watch Dogs Legion and Gods and Monsters, and I think Rainbow Six Quarantine was the other one, and then they announced Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Yeah.
And now it's another Far Cry, reportedly.
Great.
Cool.
And this thing, and so this is a translated version of this text. Obviously, I don't read Danish, but so bear that in mind. But about Far Cry 6, the line is, "I have good news for you who are hungry for more first-person shootings in exotic locations."
Always.
Montana.
Always got the hunger.
Those of you who didn't like Far Cry 5's North American setting will probably find this game more interesting when it is officially unveiled during Ubisoft Forward.
It's in Denmark.
So I don't know if that's just straight up
Weird.
another tropical island or
Antarctica.
what.
I hope it's not. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, exotic could be a lot of things.
Like that's if they want to just get back to what they might view as like the classic Far Cry experience, then that's exactly what they would do.
Yeah, right.
It's just
Totally. It is
retreat to
full-on
the
tropical
thing
island.
that worked without realizing that well, whatever. We don't know anything about it, but I feel like the Far Cry formula has needed a larger overhaul than it's gotten for some time now. And if it's just Far Cry 5 mechanics with another couple of years of iteration set in a tropical location, what does that do? You know?
that's where we get our UFC island.
Okay. All right.
Oh.
Okay.
You're gonna
But
you're gonna hunt
yeah.
boars so you can craft a new fist.
Wait, isn't that just Primal?
Yeah, I guess so.
yeah, kind of
Again, unconfirmed. We'll see. We'll find out in a month. But
very plausible.
I could certainly believe it. I didn't.
Yeah.
Wasn't there some numbers or something going around recently that like the Far Cry series is still quite popular?
I would believe that.
forget
That
where I
those
saw
games
that.
probably do just fine, and
Yeah.
they certainly do keep making them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh God, fuck.
What?
Time for some action in chat says, and this is 100% right. They're gonna put a Tiger King in that game.
Oh boy.
You
Oh
know,
boy.
Oh yeah.
They're gonna do that, aren't they? They'll totally do that, won't they?
All right, let's move on.
It feels like Tiger King was like 8 years ago.
Yeah.
I'll just kind of rattle off quickly the other stuff on this list because there's not a ton of info about each one, but they say that Warner Brothers Montreal's Batman game is imminent. That's planned to be shown pretty soon. Warner Brothers did cancel their event, right? They're not one of the ones.
I don't
that
think they
has-
ever formally announced an
Okay.
event.
Okay.
But
But they don't have one
yes.
on the books right now.
Yeah, that's
that correct?
Yeah.
This says that Batman game is set for release earlier than you might think. So maybe this year. Which
As it
sure.
said.
That would not be earlier than I would think. I guess like
Hmm.
like next week would be earlier than I think.
Sure.
This
maybe.
fall would not be earlier than I
Yeah,
would think.
Yeah, sure.
But if, like Montreal also, like I think like the interesting thing out of the Warner slate is like whatever Rocksteady would be doing.
Yes, that is also. So there's a Harry Potter game mentioned on this
Oh,
list.
what if that's
Oh,
what if
timely.
Rocksteady's making a Harry Potter game?
Yeah, very timely. Everyone
Yes,
really
it's a great-
likes Harry Potter right
it's a
now.
great
Everyone's
time to-
super excited about
yeah.
it.
Great time to get out there
fuck.
with some Harry Potter.
Yeah.
God damn it.
She's the
This
worst.
wording is a little unclear, and again, this is a translated webpage, so I can't say for sure, but it seems to be implying that, so there is some Harry Potter game that's rumored, but it seems to be implying that is definitely not Rocksteady's project, because they talk
Yeah.
about them both as separate things.
Wasn't there an RPG that leaked
Yeah,
some
it was some
footage that
kinda-
was supposed to be at like E3?
I believe
wasn't-
I believe that's right. But this, if I'm reading this right, this seems to be saying Rocksteady's project is definitely separate from this Harry Potter thing.
Is Rocksteady confirmed working on like a? I thought they were confirmed to be
Fucking
working
high.
on a DC thing.
No, that's.
I don't
nothing.
know that
I think didn't they?
confirmed.
I'm pretty sure didn't they come out and say it is not a Superman game?
Yeah, they said it's not Superman.
Okay, but it could be something in that vein.
Yeah,
That is like, what the fuck Rocksteady is up to might be the most like enigmatic thing in games right now to me because it's been so long and they just haven't said shit.
Yeah,
Like,
totally.
what is going
and,
on
and you
over
hope it's and if Montreal's doing a Batman game,
Right.
then that's also like exciting too, because I think like for me like the most disappointing thing would be like we've really ratcheted up the Batmanness of our
Yeah.
Batman game.
Yeah.
Like if it's Rocksteady coming back with like here's another Batman game we've done way more.
I mean, they were.
All right.
I remember when Arkham
But-
Knight came out, they were very adamant that like this is the end of our
This
Batman
is-
trilogy.
yeah.
Like we are
yeah, they had 2 things to say.
Yeah.
This is exactly, yes. This is the end of our Batman trilogy.
right.
This 4th game in
Yes.
the Batman franchise is the end of our trilogy.
Low key shade,
Which,
Warner
yeah.
Montreal, but so yeah, definitely don't think it's a Batman game from them. But who knows?
But also like that, like knowing what that, I don't that game that Montreal did was not terrible. That last one, it was just like too much of the same thing. It had been done too much. So I think the idea of like them doing a Batman game, if that ends up being like, here's the 5th Arkham game or something like that, like again, like that, I feel like I'm hoping for more from publishers right now than, hey, we made another one of those.
Yeah,
But that's a good way to set yourself up for disappointment time and time again.
yeah,
So
dude.
we'll see.
Oh, that's so depressing. The idea of some of these franchises bleeding into a 3rd generation of consoles, like games that
Dude,
started
right?
on the 360 and the PS3, and like here we are.
Or you'll end up on some weird loop where it'll be like, hey, we put out a remake
Right.
of the game, a remastered version of this game, and that proved to be successful in a way that now we've justified making a proper sequel for this next generation of consoles. Yeah, totally.
Yes.
I don't know, whatever. They make they've made Legend of Zelda games for a long time and no one complains. But
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, but at least they invent themselves
they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
from time to time.
Definitely do.
Resident Evil 8 is on this list. A new Silent Hill is on this list. Horizon Zero Dawn 2, which seems more or less guaranteed. Fable 4. Not like a lot of specific
right,
dates on a lot of this stuff, but like these are all generally framed as like here are some of the things we're going to be seeing in the next few months. They're talking like Fable 4 would be a July reveal.
I mean, we thought that was going to be, and July makes sense. They've already got that event scheduled
Yes.
for July. So,
Yes.
um,
And like
yeah, I mean, we thought we were going to see Fable last year. So,
yes.
yeah.
Fucking, a new Fable game is maybe not the worst thing to launch a new Xbox with. I'm gonna say.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
And it's in, I guess a new team. Well, yeah, a new
Yeah, this
studio.
this
certainly,
this
but
says it's that Playground Games project.
I don't know if any old Fable people went over there to work on it, or
Yeah.
if there's any kind of legacy there. But sure.
So I think that's pretty much the roundup of the rumors from that story. And then there's this Bloodborne on PC thing.
No.
It's like literally my first question was going to be, Jan, are you going to start over?
Yeah, you're good now. Just start over from the beginning.
imagine how
Yeah.
imagine how good you'll be with like 3 times the frame rate.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to start over. I'm gonna
Wow,
start
that's
over if
commitment.
This is real.
I'm impressed. But yeah,
I hate it.
you can like when you get good at those games, you can kind of blaze through them.
And I think I could now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No.
dude, it'll be so much better.
Yeah, I
Totally.
can't imagine seeing Ludwig's horseman faces in like 60 frames.
See, like chat's got it figured out. You can just do a different build. You can do an arcane build this time. It'll be totally different.
But bullets are so hard to find. Nothing but cannon. Full cannon build.
This one's weird because I don't feel like it's gone beyond people tweeting about it. But at some point over the weekend, it just sort of became like accepted wisdom that Bloodborne is coming to PC.
I feel like people have just willed this into existence by talking
Yes,
about it for so
totally.
long.
Totally, that's how it feels. But
Well, like Horizon eventually made its way over to PC.
yeah, that one was kind of backed by people with some track record of leaking things or data mining stuff, and like I don't feel like that is there for this one. Like the way Jeff put it, seems like pretty spot on. It's just like people are just saying it until it's real.
Until someone goes like, "Yeah, we should do that.
Right.
Why aren't we doing it? We're doing that, right?"
There is. I'm trying to scroll through this story and find it. There is some amount of like specific detail being provided along with the stuff. Like they're talking like Blue Point Games is working on it, along with another.
But also, they're saying that Blue Point is primarily working on like a Demon Souls
Yes.
PS5 or something, right?
People are saying that long rumored Demon Souls remake is also happening with them.
Who knows? Sure.
They're saying that Bloodborne, if this exists, would be coming to Steam sooner than later, like relatively soon. They're also saying Bloodborne would be coming to PS5. I don't know if those things would be happening at the same time or not. Like, if you're going to put it out on PS5, do you put it out on Steam first, or do you just hold the Steam version until PS5's out?
I'd probably hold it
Yeah.
and try to get people to buy it on PS5.
That's probably the right way to go. So yeah, maybe it's happening.
Hmm.
You tell me.
That seems
It's
again
happening.
like that all seems plausible.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
like none of that you look at it and go like, oh, definitely not. Like,
Yeah,
oh, yeah,
it's
sure.
obviously
That all
there's, like,
seems like
there's
something that could happen. It's like it's cool, but at the same time, kind of just mundane enough to be plausible. Of just
Yeah.
like, yeah, okay, that seems like something that those studios would do. That seems like something that would happen.
Sure.
That seems like a natural choice for the next. Like, hey, let's put a Sony game out on PC. Like, yeah, sure, why
yeah.
not?
Okay, onward with the news. Just a couple of random little instances I saw of companies responding to current events, trying to, contribute to certain like current social currents and like contribute to the Black Lives Matter movement and so forth. Like a couple of these, like I don't know, I'm of two minds on a couple of these. Like Call of Duty, for instance, has essentially inserted like kind of a pop-up, like a Black Lives Matter sort of piece of messaging, I guess you'd say, when
Yeah,
you boot up
it's
the
before
game.
every match.
Right,
It's
so
basically they
oh.
replaced the loading screen. So the loading screen would have like a picture of the map you're about to go on or some
Right.
kind of image. Basically, they've removed that image and replaced it with text.
Okay, I thought it was something that popped up when you first started the game.
It is also like a message of the day type
Okay,
thing in
okay.
there as well. But
Okay.
it's also something that you see before every match.
Yeah. So like I don't know, like I said, I'm kind of two minds because I see that, and on the one hand, it's like, okay, you inserted an image into your game, but like, what else are you doing? Are you making any contributions or anything like that? But at the same time, getting in the face of a community like that does not necessarily have the best reputation for, tolerance,
Sure.
tolerance and inclusivity. Like, I don't know how much of an actual inconvenience it is in terms of how long it's. Maybe it's
It
not.
is the same load time. It is not something that
Okay,
is
so
like
that's-
a roadblock to the game or anything like
that's,
that.
That's maybe less good then, because I thought it was something you had to like sit there and kind of sit with for a few seconds.
I mean, the game does not load instantaneously, even on PC where
sure,
it loads pretty
sure,
fast.
sure.
It is definitely something that is in front of you on a
Yeah.
regular basis, and it's one of those good litmus tests of like when you see people getting super pissed about it, it
Right.
tells you everything you need to know about that person. I
Sure,
think, and
sure.
you just go like, okay,
Yeah, it does have that aspect, but also just like inconveniencing people, like kind of the same way that people blocking a highway and stuff like that. It's like getting in getting in people's faces with this stuff is certainly a way to make them notice it.
And then Infinity Ward also got out there and said that they were gonna double down on trying to remove bullshit usernames.
Yeah,
and,
like
all
that
sorts of
is,
stuff that
like-
you see on a somewhat regular basis in
yeah,
there.
because
Which
like when this messaging went out, I immediately saw people posting screenshots of awful usernames, going like, "Hey, this is still in your game. Like, what's up?"
yeah, and it's crazy that this wasn't something they were already doing. I mean,
Yeah.
hey, cool, good on them for trying to fix their shit, but like this is years overdue. For people, like because some games have had the emblem editors and people making swastika emblems in the
Right.
editor and all this other stuff, and then saying, "Oh, well, it's a World War II game." Like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
all right, man,
Sure.
cool.
Wow.
And just so there's been just a lot of opportunities for that type of bullshit in a lot of games. I mean, like Call of Duty is a good example because it is such a big selling franchise and all that other stuff, and people use the clan tags to do all kinds of stupid shit, and yeah, they should take care of that. But also they should have been taking care of that for years now.
Yeah.
It's somewhat embarrassing that they have not done it yet, but hey, they should do that, and they have said that they will. So
Yeah, I mean, they're JPEGs on Twitter, so I can't speak to the authenticity, but some of the usernames I saw going around that people were posting screenshots of were just like, how do you not have a word filter for that?
exactly, yeah, it's definitely like as someone who plays Call of Duty a few times a week, you do certainly encounter some shit that you're just like, man, fuck this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gross.
Rockstar made a move where they took all of their online games down for 2 hours on the 4th of June. GTA Online and Red Dead Online from 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern. I think they followed that up with some donation links and some stuff like that. So like that's the kind of thing I mean of like, hey, like probably some people playing those games that couldn't give a shit about this stuff, and like when you take their game away for a second and just like, hey, look, like hold
You
up.
should at least
Hold up,
at
like-
least like stop and think about what the fuck is going on right now.
Right.
Just I think there's value in that.
Yeah.
I mean, is it the same as like, hey, we're making a large donation, no, but it's something.
Yeah. So, just a couple tidbits that I saw going around as I was going through the news this week. Let's see. Did anybody get a chance to watch the Destiny stuff this morning?
Negative.
Boy, I don't know where to start with this.
I read the kind of short version of
the blog
what
post they put up.
Yeah, I read that thing, and there's
a lot here.
I think the thing that all this folds back into for me is, the stuff we have heard over the years about how working on Destiny is kind of a pain in the ass because of the tools, or how long it takes certain things to render, or how long it takes for them to build a version of the game, and just the idea of just like, well, I need to push this button and then leave the office and come back in the morning and we can see what happened. Oh wait, I fucked up oh wait, no, now we need to wait another 8 hours or something to see this.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's still like that. I don't, it's like, but it's like, I feel like we've heard enough stories about just the process of working on that game.
I mean, we've been hearing that for years, but
yeah,
they practically come out and say that in this blog post they put up.
Yeah,
like I don't even feel like this should be the biggest news because they just announced 3 years worth of expansions today, and yet I feel like the thing everybody's talking about is the fact that they're removing all this old content.
Well, I think that speaks to just like the quality of the expansions they've put out. That like, okay, sure, like I don't know that I don't know what I paid for or didn't pay for with Destiny 2 at this point. Like at the different seasons they've done. The last time I played it, I ran to, I think it's a giant sundial.
Okay.
And then a guy started talking to me, and then something broke and he stopped talking. And then it didn't tell me what to do next. And it never changed from that. So I ran back. I would log out, log back in, run back to that place, and it seemed like there was never anything that said, "Hey, here's what you're supposed to do next." And so I completely like my ability to move forward completely broke.
I think that is exactly where I stopped the last time I played that game as well.
Yeah, and I don't know what I missed in the dialogue that got cut off. Maybe it was him saying like, "You need to go to this other planet and do a thing," but I just don't know. And so I just have barely touched that game since then, and I hadn't touched it a ton since before that.
Yeah.
So like them getting out there and saying like, "Hey, we've got more new Destiny expansions." I don't think I played the last couple. I don't even like or seasons.
Well,
or seasons expansions.
Yes, no, that's one of the distinctions to make is like they are basically doing one expansion a year and then like 3 other Well, so there will be a new season that starts along with an expansion. So there are 4 seasons a year, I guess, is the way to look at it, right?
Okay.
And one of those will have a big like actual content expansion associated with it.
Okay, and the rest will be
and
like
the others are
hey,
just
we added some smaller things and
and so the pattern I've fallen into is basically play that expansion season and have a good time with it, and then immediately fall off of the off seasons,
right?
Because those are much more just like here's some repeatable activities to help you chase guns and armor, and like that's okay, but I need more than that out of that game.
And announcing that seems to be the cadence that they're going to stick with. Like that doesn't sound amazing.
Yeah, so they announced this fall's expansion is called Beyond Light, but then they went ahead and also announced next year's expansion and the one after that.
Yeah.
Wow. So next year, what's that?
I was just about to say with the taking out content stuff before we moved on to the further stuff. The only concern I have is like I'm somebody who played all of Vanilla Destiny 2 and then like a teensy bit of that expansion. And this kind of makes me worry about diving back in because like I could probably hit the ground on Earth and remember kind of exactly the loops of the quests and stuff. And then like now it seems like I would have to come in and theoretically learn new levels like while juggling with here's all the shit they changed. Like I remember my first time back to Destiny 2 after they added stuff is like they had completely reworked like the quest screen and everything, and just learning that alone took a lot of time.
I think Luke said in the stream this morning they're reworking that quest screen again.
Great.
It needs to be reworked.
It does. It definitely needs it.
Like the thing they made was better than what it was before, but still not good. Like
impossible to understand what was going on without talking to somebody.
Yeah.
And I think that's the yeah, man. I don't know that that bit of news fixes anything. I think my thing about content coming out of the game is that right now it's a lot of content that I haven't played. And so instead of this like, hey, I can come back to this game at any time and try to catch up on all this content I missed, and there'd be a ton of new stuff waiting for me. Like the idea that just like, oh, actually, no, we're totally going to take that stuff away. Then it's that feeling of like, well, I guess I'm never going to play it then. And maybe you'll take it out of the vault someday, and maybe I'll try it then.
Yeah, so I should just briefly explain what they're actually doing. And like at the top of this, I said like it's weird that we're talking about them taking out content over the content that they say they're adding, but they themselves start this blog post off talking about the content coming out.
Yeah.
Like literally the first line of this is Destiny 2 is too large to efficiently update and maintain. The size and complexity of the game are also contributing to more bugs and less innovation. They give a bunch more explanation that all leads up to the creation of what they're calling the Destiny Content Vault. And what that means is that as of this fall, let me find the list here. Gosh, I'm trying to. Well, I've lost it here. Here it is. As of this fall, when the new expansion comes out, Mars, Io, Titan, Mercury, and Leviathan, which is that raid that we did, and all the activities associated with those locations will be going into the vault and will no longer be playable. So,
isn't that like 2/3 of Destiny 2 today? Like, isn't it like
it's about
like location wise?
They've added enough locations that I'd say that's, well, I mean, I could count. That's about half from the looks of this.
Okay.
There will be 7 locations still in the game. One of which is the Cosmodrome from the original game, which they refer to as unvaulted. They will be unvaulting the Cosmodrome. And to be fair, I can't wait to go run around the Cosmodrome. I miss the Cosmodrome.
Yeah,
it's a fun location.
If long term this paves the way for them to make content that is better, then sure. I think Destiny 2, when it's good, it's great. And if if that's actually true of like, hey, the having to maintain all of this shit and make sure it all still works from patch to patch takes up so much time and resources that they can't make cool shit, then fucking throw it out and make cooler shit. But also this is like them kind of low-key admitting that like, hey, the content we've been doing for the past couple of years, like, it's not that great. So we're gonna, so we want to make better content. We need to get rid of this shit. Like that's a weird weird thing too.
I will say some of that content associated with like Mars and Mercury, like those were the weakest expansions of Destiny 2 so far. So if you didn't play those, you're not missing that much.
Good art.
Yeah, some great
Cool
locations.
spots,
like Mercury
but
looks cool as fuck, man. It's like it's right next to the sun, man. It's a neat place to be. But but there will be a new location this fall with that new expansion, and the Cosmodrome will be coming back, so that it's not like the game is going to be empty. Like I said, this fall's expansion is Beyond Light. Next year will be the Witch Queen, which is Savathun, the sister of Oryx. If that means anything to you. And then the 2022 expansion will be called Lightfall, which, like, I you know what? I have to admire their audacity at some point for just coming out and being like, here's the name of the thing we're putting out 2 years from now. Which I'm sure they have barely started.
There's not going to be a 2022.
Yes. Like I said, pretty audacious.
Do you think they're ever going to just drop the 2 and call it Destiny?
I think they should do exactly that. But they do say
I always felt that the thing that they needed to do and able to do that would be to put Destiny 1 into Destiny 2.
Yeah.
Like story wise.
I agree.
They do say that they're going to rework the intro to the game. As part of putting the Cosmodrome back in, that they will have like a new story that goes with that to kind of open the game, which now that it's a free-to-play game, they have to consider what does the onboarding look like and all that other stuff. Yeah. So
I should mention
reworking that's probably pretty smart.
A couple points there. All the content associated with the Cosmodrome is coming back. So like all those strikes from the first game, the Vault of Glass, which is like some would say probably still the best raid.
And no one on PCs ever played it,
right?
And I bet there's a huge percentage of Destiny players that have never seen the Vault of Glass. So
that's cool.
That makes sense.
And they mentioned like
they're very obviously not coming out with Destiny 3 anytime.
No,
soon,
they straight up say at the top of this blog post, instead of building a Destiny 3 and leaving D2 behind, each year we're going to cycle older, less actively played content out of the live game. Blah blah blah. So just making room for new stuff is basically the way they're pitching it.
I think like I guess I think of it in terms of like if they were to make Destiny 3, they would have an opportunity to do a clean break and build it all over again and build it right in a way that was like optimal for their teams to work on it and maintain it and fix some of those problems that way, like whether they've got tech debt or whatever the situation is. But if they can do that in place while still it being Destiny 2, like I guess whatever.
Yeah, I mean they basically said like, hey, if we were to make a Destiny 3, then Destiny 2 would have to go dark for like 3 years. Like we could not support this game anymore if we were going to turn our attention as a studio to making a third game.
That makes sense.
Yeah. They didn't really come out and say it, but there's a ton of teases in here about, like, the pyramid ships are there, the darkness. Like, they didn't come out and say, hey, there's going to be factions or anything like that, but there is a fourth elemental power coming on top of the, the Arc Void Solar framework. There's a fourth one of those, and it's kind of...
Ice.
Sure.
I'm just trying to think what they don't have.
The darkness.
Yeah, I think it did. Kind of the implication was it was some kind of darkness-based thing. I mean, like the name Beyond Light kind of makes it sound like
Lightfall,
sure.
like all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
Void.
there's been the rumors about there being some kind of like Horde Alliance style faction split kind of thing for a long time.
The story, like the last chunk of story stuff that I played, certainly ended that way.
Yeah.
In terms of like, it really felt like it was pointing towards like, hey, maybe you could be a Dark Guardian or something like that.
Yes. And they talk about next generation a little bit. They'd said the PS5 Series X versions will run at 4K 60. Anything you have bought up to that point will come over to the new consoles in terms of content. And they will have cross-generation play. So PS4 and 5 can play together.
You always heard about like, oh, Destiny kind of got screwed over by virtue of having to run on old consoles.
Right.
And when they finally broke that compatibility, it was very much like, this lets us make a more ambitious game. And this just seems like they're falling into that same trap again,
Yeah,
right?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I got to say though, when I first heard this news, I feel like my initial, like the vaulting of the content and stuff, my initial reaction was like, if I were Google, if I was a Phil Harrison, I would be on the phone with them going like, what's it going to take for us to have Destiny 2, the complete experience on Stadia, because there's no hard drive install space, and we can they can market around that and just say like, we've got the full version of Destiny 2. You can't get anywhere else or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Probably a lot. I don't know. Some of that stuff sounds interesting. Some of it's a little weird, but new season starts today. There's some new content. Like there's a new dungeon coming out tonight that looks pretty awesome.
I pulled a 3 gig patch right before the show started.
3 gigabytes of new dungeon.
That's right.
It's exciting. I might jump in there tonight. I might just get in there and see what's.
If there's new Destiny stuff,
Yeah.
I will look at new Destiny stuff. I mean, hell, I logged in over the weekend to watch a small dent get knocked into the tower when all of the leaks were about it being way more substantial than that.
Yes. Well, not even leaks. Like they were out there teasing it. Like Bungie people were out there on Twitter
but
saying,
it was
like,
also
hey,
like
come check this
someone
out.
had like clipped into a fucked up version of the tower by
Oh.
mistake, and it was like seemed like it was the leaks made it sound like it was devastated.
Yeah.
And so, well, whatever. Maybe there's something else coming there, but like the idea of just like here's a hole and you can get an emblem out of it was like great. This is a fun 90 minutes. Whatever. That thing looked neat.
It
at least.
was
Like,
cool. It was like a nice, they're the best in the industry skyboxes. Like that was a nice
Yeah,
looking.
I feel like Bungie building an event around staring at their skyboxes is like a play to your strengths move
very on
in
brand.
a way that no one could have ever anticipated.
Totally. But I mean, I know we talked about it on Discord this weekend, but like, if they had not told anybody that thing was happening, and like people who happened to be in the game just caught wind of it and started posting screenshots on Twitter of it, going like, "What the fuck is going on in the sky over the tower? What is happening? Like, there's these laser beams out of nowhere, like."
Yeah.
It probably would have gotten people talking in like a cool, mystified, like, what the hell is that kind of way.
And the story built up to that of just
Right.
like, hey, this ship is trying to crash into the tower.
Yeah.
Like this is Warmind's going to try to stop it because of the things you did. Like, people would know, hey, this is going to happen eventually, so they would at least have that story context to it.
And like, I get that they want people to see the work they put into the cool thing they did, and like the thing they did was cool, but maybe not to the level of the kind of amount of promotion it got.
Well, having it get out there and then having people immediately turn it into, and I don't know that they necessarily did this.
Yeah.
I didn't quite see how they hyped it up versus how people took the news. But having people go like, "Oh, this is Destiny's first attempt at a Fortnite style live event."
That's probably where it actually broke, is people
Yeah.
talking like it was going to be the Fortnite thing.
And it's super not that.
Yeah.
It was like a cool, peaceful little thing that is in some weird ways like it was very fitting for Destiny. It was a very Destiny take on the live event.
Totally.
But having it be like, hey, occasionally some foreboding music is going to play while you stare at the sky was it's a little long.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what Fortnite is doing casts a large shadow over any sort of like live event. Not that they were trying to be like, "Hey, we've got this," giant thing coming, but people have really high expectations right now for like live events in games.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, if you want to check out the new season, I mean, today's a good day. Today is the first day, so be getting in on the ground floor with their battle pass and all that stuff. A couple more things real quick. They're doing a demake, I guess. Do we use that term around here?
Sure.
And there's kind of an 8-bit-ish Nintendo like entertainment system-ish version of Pac-Man Championship Edition coming.
Weird. Yeah.
It's part of, first of all, it's part of this Namcot collection, which, where the hell does the word Namcot come from?
From the early days. Arcade cabinets sometimes had Namcot like on the side.
Okay.
And I've
That
never
was,
really
it was mostly
figured
their
out.
home stuff, I thought. Like a lot of NES, like
Yeah.
a lot of Famicom games came out with Namcot on them over Namco. I don't know if it was a result of like, if it was like the Konami Ultra type thing of like, oh, you can only put out X number of games per year per company. So people invented fake new company names or something. That was
Maybe.
always what I thought Namcot was, but I don't know. Yeah.
So yeah, they're putting out this Namcot collection for, I believe it's Switch. Is that right? Yes, it's a Switch thing. It's currently only coming out in Japan. It's other than this Pac-Man thing, it's like existing NES games. But as a bonus, they are remaking Pac-Man Championship Edition, which is a pretty fucking good Pac-Man game.
In an NES style format
Yes.
with like Pac-Mania music in it, which is also weird.
Oh, weird. Well, maybe that's less interesting because I just wanted to come into this saying like I want to hear an NES arrangement of that menu music.
Maybe it'll have it. I don't know, but I saw a video of it and it sounded like it was just music from Pac-Mania in game.
Yeah.
But I'm curious to know if this is like a legit NES ROM running in there.
Huh. Oh, you mean like would it run on actual hardware?
Yeah,
Yeah.
if this is an actual hardware type of thing, I need to read up on it a little more.
Yeah.
But that would be neat.
It's out next week in Japan, but not announced for any other territories yet. So
They did say all those games would be in English. I mean, obviously
Ah.
you don't need, it's Pac-Man. You don't
Yeah.
need English.
Yes.
But I might just,
No Paku man.
yeah,
Yes.
I might just import that.
yes, that could be obtained if you're so inclined. Last story of the week: Kingdoms of Amalur: Re-Reckoning.
Yeah. I just started playing that not too long ago.
Really?
It's a hell of a game.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
It's
That's
a
a pretty
very
good
good game.
Pretty good game.
Yeah.
I
And
feel
now
like that
I'm-
was the.
Now
No,
I'm
sorry, go
torn
ahead.
like Jan with Bloodborne. Like, do
Oh,
I start
no.
over or do I finish this? Or I'm probably going to start over because I'm not too far in.
Yeah.
Should I also get this?
Yes.
Yes.
Go track down a 360 copy and get about 20 hours into it,
You can
Yeah.
buy it digitally. So
and then you'll have to start over again. This leaked, I believe.
And then they
on-
confirmed it. I
Yes,
think.
then they
Yeah.
came out
Yeah.
and confirmed it. I forget where it leaked originally.
It was an Xbox.com store page or
Okay.
something like that.
Man, those pesky digital stores just.
It's
leaking
all right.
all over the place.
That game was may have been the first one I played, if not the first, that had like a loot as junk button in it. Like
Okay.
from the I remember the inventory management stuff being really smooth in a way that was like, man, all games need to have this now.
I guess it was kind of a looty game, wasn't it?
It was
Oh,
definitely,
totally,
yeah, absolutely.
Uh,
And I remember enjoying it. Would
Yeah,
have been
it's
nice
been
if
a
we had
really
ever
fun-
seen that MMO that they were supposed to make in that same universe, but hey.
yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of the other side of this is because a lot of people got kind of shifted at the end of at the end of the life, I guess, of their studio.
Yeah. Yes. No word on whether the former employees of Big Huge Games will
Yeah.
receive their final paycheck that they're apparently still waiting on.
Right.
I'm gonna guess no.
Yes,
that
no.
THQ Nordic
Yes,
didn't
no. I'm-
necessarily have that as part of their
No,
deal.
That was
but,
not. Yes, that is absolutely not happening.
Yeah.
I believe that's sooner than later.
Oh, was it August?
That sounds,
sounds
right.
right, yeah.
August seems so far away still.
I know.
Also, they made the interesting decision of just picking the original Reckoning game account on Twitter right back up and using that to promote the game. which means you only need to scroll down about 6 or so tweets to see them retweeting Kurt Schilling talking about
Good.
Yes, which is maybe perhaps go get the Re-Reckoning game account if you still can. Switch to that. Yeah. Remakes and remasters, that's where we're at. Got all this fancy new hardware on the way.
Get ready for like of all the games to again, like I don't think that's necessarily a bad game,
No.
but in terms of like games you're reissuing for remakes, like we're at this point where they're just like, I don't know, Kingdoms of Amalur. We bought that.
Yeah.
Why don't we put that
Yeah.
back out? And you're like, okay, sure, I guess. Like, sure.
Yeah.
You're doing Destroy All Humans, so where's the bar,
God, that's
right? I mean,
right.
yeah.
Jeez, that's right.
God, that,
I mean,
that's
one of those
such a
games
big
had a
display.
fantastic soundtrack that needs to be preserved.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. That's all I got for news.
Well, should we say because 1 billion people are going to send it to us if we don't say that
Let's not.
Persona?
Let's-
All right, I'm not allowed to say it.
All right. Why don't we go to break?
Is there some stuff? I have not been looking at chat. Is there people finding? Looks like there's some kind of Persona stuff kicking around. That'd be weird.
Yeah.
They should put that game out. People should be able
Sure.
to play that game
Yeah.
without having to track down a Vita.
Sure.
That would be kind of neat.
Man, I bought a Vita last year.
That's
That's probably my mistake.
Just to play every old game you want, man. Don't care about remakes. Who gives a
Exactly.
Oh,
fuck?
I could play that Tales game.
That's right.
No, Jan.
Live the life you want to live, man.
Yeah.
Don't let these corporations tell you what to do.
Yeah.
Play their games on give them your money on your time. All right. Let's take another step back here real quick and come back and read some emails. We'll be back in a minute. Y'all like hearing from the audience?
Always.
Do you want to hear what the people have to say?
Oh no, absolutely not.
No. Okay.
No,
Well,
no.
you should best just turn around and walk away then.
All right.
Okay, I'm out of here.
I'm just going to sit here and read all these emails myself.
All right, I'll hang out. I'll
and
hang out.
Answer them myself.
Hang on.
Thanks. Nope.
Are they good?
I don't know. Let you be the judge. We'll take score.
If they're good, I'm out of here.
Okay.
Yeah, let's take score.
All right. It's ranking of emails. Here
Okay.
we go.
All right, great.
Bombcast@giantbomb.com is the address. Here's the first email. James from Austin, Texas. Which member of the Mushroom Kingdom would you pick first for a game of dodgeball?
Waluigi.
Who would get picked last? Toad. It's Toad. He picks.
Yeah,
he
Toad.
picks.
Right.
Toad picks the balls
Short
up the
arm,
fastest.
Yeah.
And he's the
Yeah.
smallest
What?
hitbox.
Oh,
Yeah.
dodgeball. I was thinking kickball.
Does he
Okay.
have the smallest hitbox? Like he's got those short arms, but he's got a huge
Heads
head.
don't count
Huge.
though.
Heads don't count.
Headshots don't count.
That's
It's the-
news to me.
Yeah, body shots only.
It's that
Really?
that lift speed would make him the ringer.
Body shots only has been my motto for years.
Last picked. I'm trying to I'm going through the stats in my mind of I'm probably going to go by Mario Tennis stats here, like for power, speed, and all those. I think Boo would be my first pick because he has the ability to phase in and out of existence, which seems handy for dodging balls.
Is it illegal to throw a dodgeball through your mouth hole versus your hands?
Yes, in the world, it is illegal.
It's immoral, but illegal? I don't know.
Because Birdo could do a good job, right?
Perhaps.
Yeah, maybe Birdo could load that,
Birdo's just got
hold
that
that ball
cannon.
in and just...
Yeah.
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 Hmm.
I'm going to say
I keep
go.
thinking about Boo. I don't know about Boo because once he's facing,
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, that's true.
oh man, that makes it awkward.
I think
What's,
Speedy Piranha is the worst. He's got those little leaf arms. He can't even hold a dodgeball.
Yeah. But a big mouth could probably spit the ball pretty well, right? I mean...
Yeah, but how's he get it in that? I guess he could pick it up with his mouth. And then...
What's the small purple guy in Mario 2 that bounces around?
Ninja?
Ninja?
Yeah,
Ninja.
Yeah, Ninja would be a good pick on
Ooh.
the team.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Moving target.
I'm looking at the chat, and Spike is like the pick, the guy who vomits out the ball and
Oh,
throws
yeah.
it. It's literally his job.
Oh.
All right.
Worst would
He's
probably be
like-
Bullet Bill. Bullet Bill would just go for the ball, try to catch it, and just get hit by it.
Yeah.
Then he'd be offsides because he just goes in a straight line.
Mm-hmm.
What a jerk.
All right. Jeff from Boise, Idaho. Is Jeff the only human to have ever attended every E3? Is there anyone else who has had their E3 loyalty card punched for every single one? Just curious. Keep up the great shows. Didn't Andy McNamara has been to all of them, right?
Yeah.
I remember his
Keeley,
name.
I think, has been to
Oh,
all
sure,
of them.
I'm sure Keeley. Ryan McDonald?
I don't know if we're like recently.
Yeah.
Oh, well, maybe the recent
Um,
ones, but he was there at
yeah.
the beginning, right?
Yes.
What about like
yeah.
business?
Victor
people?
Lucas, Chris
Okay.
Charla?
Yeah.
We keep in touch here and there. Or I think Victor Lucas occasionally emails everyone and goes, I think we're the only people, like Andy Eddy, I think might be on that list.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Um,
I should hope
but
so.
he may have missed one at some point
Yeah.
along the way. I don't know. But yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
I've been to
You
all.
guys have like a secret handshake or
So,
anything?
yeah, it's the who's who of the old games press
Yeah.
people.
No, we never had a chance to work out a cool handshake.
Damn.
Yeah, this was going to be the year, I think, that we would have.
You should come
Don't
up with
have
it
to
right
get
now.
together, but-
Handshakes are very in vogue.
Yeah, everyone's shaking hands.
It's a great time.
Everyone's out there doing it.
It's a great time for that.
Yeah.
I will never not be bitter that I missed the first two. I can never be part of that club.
It's okay.
I'll
You're all right.
always be on the outside looking in.
Yeah, no, you're all right. It's okay. Those first two were neat.
Yeah.
The Neo Geo CD was at one of them.
Wow. Huh.
The first one, I believe. Yeah.
Did it feel like E3 right at the beginning? Or was there a
Um,
transitional, like, oh, this is just kind of like CES, but in a different building for
It
a
felt
while?
like because it felt like CES, but just the games. So, and that is kind of always what it was. It just grew and grew and grew because gaming grew. But yeah, those first few years definitely felt like, because the gaming section at CES was its own kind of cordoned off thing. In Vegas, often it was, or one of the times I went, it was just a fucking tent in a parking lot. And they had set everything up in there, and that was okay. But yeah, the first couple, I guess, yeah, just still felt like the same as CES. But just you couldn't leave and go look at car stereos. It was
Right.
just games.
Right.
So yeah,
My memory of my first one was the Atlanta one, the first Atlanta one in '97.
Yeah.
And do you remember was the show floor underground? Didn't you like take an escalator down into the show floor?
that sounds right. I don't remember.
Like I distinctly remember the first time I got on that escalator and went down. It was very cold and very dark and very fucking loud. And it was just
Yeah.
like, man, I'm descending into some like den of iniquity here. It's just like flashing neon lights and
Those Atlanta E3s, I always felt like were some of the best parties, and maybe that was just because I
yeah.
was 22ish,
Right.
23, however old I was, early 20s then.
yes.
And so, but like also Trent Ward, who was at GameSpot at the time, was from that area. So he knew every cool place to go to. So even when there wasn't some game party happening somewhere, it was like, oh, we're going to go down Peachtree and hang out at this bar. There was one night that
you went to the Claremont Lounge, didn't you?
we may have, we went a lot of places.
You would know if you went there.
That was the E3 that I think that was the only E3 where I literally stayed out all night. And then had to go
Ooh.
directly back to the show floor and work a full day again.
Fuck
Uh,
that. Oh my god.
and it was super hot, so like it would get to be nighttime,
Oh,
and it
yeah.
was just like it was like nice because you're like, here's this centrally located bar that like a lot of people are walking past because a lot of the hotels were around there or whatever, and we could just hang out outside and have drinks, and just everyone would walk by and stop for a little bit and say hey and keep going. It was fun. It was fun. Atlanta. The couple of times I went there, I've only been there for E3. It always seemed like a cool city.
It's just so fucking hot.
Just in the summer. It's not that
But
bad.
that's when E3 was.
Yeah.
Let's see.
It's cold.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Dominic from Chicago. Jeff's recent stream of Planet Harrier reminded me of the equally obscure Maze of Kings from 2002. I just wanted to know if Jeff has played this game by any chance. It was a light game. It was a light gun game on Naomi hardware that Jason might be interested to hear. Was the final project of game director Shinya Nishigaki, who also made Blue Stinger and Illbleed.
Yeah.
Before his
Deja.
untimely death in 2004. I've been trying to track down a cabinet to play it myself, but there are less than 10 known to exist in the United States. And when I tried to call an arcade downstate to make sure they had it, they never called me back. I'm sure it's nothing amazing, but if anyone has experience with this game, I would really appreciate hearing it. Any thoughts on Propeller Arena would be great too.
I never really thought all that highly of Propeller Arena. But I'm curious to see if Maze of Kings is something that I could theoretically be playing on a personal computer.
Oh, huh. Yeah, right. Doesn't look like there was a Dreamcast version.
No, Planet Harriers didn't get one either, but it wasn't necessarily on Naomi directly. So,
Made by Hitmaker.
yeah, like is Maze of Kings just undumped? No, here it is right here.
Oh, okay, there you go then.
MOK. Yeah. I have not played it. I seem to have the ability to check it out.
But I'm
so
about
maybe
to.
I will.
Extremely rare, apparently. What else was Hitmaker known for?
Oh gosh, what were the?
They didn't do House of the Dead, did they?
They were Crazy Taxi.
Okay.
They were Virtua Tennis. Virtual On was them. Sega Rally was them. They were AM3 before Sega decided to put a bunch of names on stuff. So
Okay.
they did some stuff like that.
Yeah. All
looks
right.
like.
Well, there you go. If you want to play Maze of Kings, that is attainable without going
Yeah, nothing
downstate.
else
Seems
going
like
on.
it is. I don't know how well it runs or whatever, but yeah,
Yeah.
seems like it is available on the internet, like a lot of other games.
All right. Next email is from Fahad. Isn't it weird that video game attract screens are still a thing? I was waiting for Dragon Ball FighterZ to load, and I didn't press any buttons and just watched a highlight reel of gameplay of the game I was about to play. It did its job. I played it.
Nice.
Nice work.
I don't know, like a good attract screen.
I
Yeah.
need a good attract screen.
Yeah.
Fighting games are the perfect use case of an attract screen because you just like back in the day, obviously it would be like, whoa, cool, look at that. But like, you turn it on, you're like, oh, I'm gonna fight someone, and you just like leave the room, grab a drink or whatever, come back and just see the match going on. You're like, yeah, that's about to be me. I'm gonna do those combos.
I'm gonna do those combos someday. I'm gonna do those combos.
I will say, if you happen to be testing video capture for hours on end, it's nice to have games that have a lot going on besides a static title screen.
Totally. Like I used
do
the
something.
Street Fighter 4 like a track screen for all of my video syncing stuff when I worked at Game Informer, and it was on a lot. And I remember in a review, they actually said you could manage your time better if you weren't playing as much Street Fighter 4. And I'm like, dude, no, it was just the attract screen. I never fucking played the game at all. I just left it, because I knew frame rates and stuff, and if it was getting a good FPS, and fucking A, god damn it. Anyway, I like a good attract screen.
Those motherfuckers.
Yep.
Let's see. We talked about the peanut butter and jelly a good bit last week.
Mm.
Here's Marson from Burlington, Ontario. Have you guys ever had peanut butter and Nutella before?
Yeah.
Your PB&J talk made me think of it. Personally, I prefer it over PB&J because it reminds me of Reese's peanut butter cups. How about you?
Nutella's so bad for you, though.
I know. Also, I feel like if you were to combine those two things, your mouth would be permanently cemented shut.
Oh yeah.
Like you just never.
That's my dream.
Like your teeth would you couldn't. That's ugh.
Number one thing to put Nutella on?
A spoon.
Oh, I don't know. Toast, yeah, crepe is good. Piece of toast.
I like just dipping a banana in.
Myself.
Perhaps
Nutella's just a hassle, man. Like,
croissant?
it's fine, but I don't.
Exactly. The top needs to be bigger. I'm with you, Jeff. I need to be able to stick my whole hand in there and just grab the Nutella out.
It's not easily spread. I feel like you can't. It's impossible to apply Nutella to a surface without also getting some on yourself, and then you're like, it's just a
No, and then you
it's
just
a
become
messy
the treat.
substance. I'm already a treat.
If it's a warm thing you're applying
yes.
it to,
Yes.
that makes it easier.
Yes. Just
Or if you use a warm knife.
Gotta heat up a knife now. It's not worth it.
Jeff,
Nutella's
listen
not
to the
that
words you're
good.
saying. Heating up knives is cool as hell.
No, yeah, hot knives, very useful.
Oh gosh, Brent in Manitoba, since we're talking about peanut butter. I'll keep this one quick. Is it fine to eat shared peanut butter out of the jar with a spoon?
No.
I say anything that you touch is sticking to the spoon, so you're not spreading germs to the remaining peanut butter. I don't think that's how that works.
That's not how that
That's
works.
not how that works.
I don't think that's how that works at all.
No, that's not how that works. It depends on who you're sharing it with. I mean, you know, like if you're sharing it with someone that you're already sharing a lot of other germs with, then
Share some peanut butter with one you love.
yeah.
Now I'm thinking about
If it's like roommates or something, though, like maybe.
No,
Come on, man.
don't do
Like, be conscientious.
Write your
This
name on a
person
jar
needs
at that
to
point.
write in their site username so I can destroy them.
Now I'm thinking about Bagel Fridays at the office, and then I'm thinking about like, those knives that are just dipped in cream cheese all
Oh,
day.
yeah, right.
Yep.
And I just someone might have taken a little taste.
That's a pretty centrally located area. I think
complain,
if anybody was eating,
HR is in full purview of that area. Like that would be.
if anybody was eating directly out of the schmear in there, I think it would be pretty obvious. But
I don't know.
I don't
I don't know. Maybe some of those people who come in from the 4th floor or whatever.
Motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Fucking
Floors don't matter anymore though.
What do you think those
bagel
people do now?
thieves.
They don't get bagels every Friday.
Well, but they don't get their fucking. They were
I
getting.
mean, neither
like
do we, but at
Shake
least they
Shack
don't get 'em.
breakfast or whatever.
They were getting super duper breakfast.
They were getting super duper breakfast.
Wait, are you saying they get their own breakfast and they come
Yeah.
take our bagels?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Motherfuckers. All right. A directive from Jim. Name your bong after a video game.
Oh boy, Haze is up there.
Okay.
It's a little too on the nose.
Awesome possum kicks Dr. Machino's butt.
Sure.
Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine.
Mr. Mosquito. I don't know.
Give me a second.
Hitman.
Not bad. Not bad.
Hitman is
Not
pretty
bad.
good.
I actually don't know if we're going to do better than that.
Super Cobra.
All right.
Nope.
Vapor
Got
Tracks.
5 seconds.
Hold on.
Out with it.
Knack 2.
Act 2. All right. There you go. There's your. Yep. Yeah.
What if you have two of them and you name them Joe and Mac?
I'm just going to steal some from the chat. Blaster Master is pretty good.
Oh, that's good.
I saw Mist in the chat.
Not terrible. All right. All right. Colin
Brad,
from
there's nothing you can do. I'm going to be thinking about this for the rest of the emails.
Feel free. Colin from Ireland. If Nintendo
Power
were...
of Draga.
You got that? You got that dank Duraga?
Just fuck, dude. Fuck.
Yeah. All right. Colin from Ireland. If Nintendo were to include the word Super in the name of a Switch successor or upgraded model, where should it be placed? Super Nintendo Switch? Nintendo Switch Super? Or my personal preference, Nintendo Super Switch? Or none of the above? I miss having the word Super in a console name.
Sure, man.
It would have to go before. It would have to mirror the Super Nintendo.
But would it just be Super Switch or would it be
I like
Super
Super
Nintendo
Switch.
Switch?
Super
Yeah,
Nintendo's.
Super
I
Switch
like
probably
Super
makes more
Nintendo
sense.
Switch a whole lot.
Yeah, that's probably what I would go with if I had to pick.
Yeah, I'll roll with that.
I don't remember how this came up. This has been sitting in the inbox for a couple weeks, waiting for the right moment. It's about Dota and Future Cop LAPD.
Okay.
I've also taken the extreme measure of clipping the email so I can put it on the stream so people can see exactly what we're working with here, because I'm going to be interpreting some what I'm guessing is phone autocorrect speak. So here we go. The subject line is Dota was stolen.
What did you guys do?
Hate to break it to you, buddy.
Here's the best I can do with this email. Dota is based on the multiplayer in the PS1 classic Future Cop LAPD on PS1. To kill Dota, you would have to kill Future Cop, which would be wrong. Dota should instead be placed in jail for theft of Future Cop's multiplayer and murder of the Future Cop brand due to that theft. That's what I've
What
got.
happens to League of Legends?
I think, if I remember, I think this was from whatever email we had saying, like, hey, delete a game from video game history and all of its effects or whatever.
Yeah.
Has anybody ever played Future Cop LAPD?
Yeah, it was originally called Future Strike, and it was meant to be in the Desert Strike kind of
weird.
line of games that
Okay.
EA put out. But unlike, it was not a helicopter game; you were in a mech.
Okay.
I remember that multiplayer mode being cool, so it can't be like Dota.
Sure.
But yeah, it was definitely like a 2-player split screen. Like you had a base, you got out there.
Immediately after this email came in, I saw somebody somewhere else also talking about how the multiplayer in Future Cop LAPD was basically Dota.
Sounds like we gotta get our hands on Future Cop LAPD.
So
Brad.
I think we should probably play Future Cop LAPD.
The Future Cop LAPD Battle Pass is ridiculous this year.
Apparently it's on PC. Apparently that game is available on PC.
I've played this.
Okay.
Huh.
Yeah. I think it might have also come up from when we were talking about Eon of Strife from StarCraft and like where Dota actually originated from. And some people were saying that thing for StarCraft was lifted from Future Cop. So maybe we actually do have Future Cop to thank for all of this.
Weird.
I don't know. Yes.
Somehow Herzog's Vi is to blame. Follow this all the way down.
Yes, I would believe it. Let's see here. Let's do a couple more. Here's a question from Yosef about Microsoft's smart delivery. For a hypothetical scenario, let's say, what if Madden 21 in the next generation came out with a completely new engine and AI built from scratch, but in the current generation it was using the old engine and the old AI as a foundation? When you upgrade to the new Xbox, would you get essentially that completely different game with the revamped engine and AI, get a better looking and playing version of the inferior version, or are the two very different versions of a game to cross generations a thing of the past, rendering this question moot?
I don't think. I think in that case you would get the. They would not create a custom third version of the game that was just an up-resed version of the last gen version.
You think they just
would not happen?
You think they just do the right thing and just give you the good one?
They would, yes, they would upgrade you to the game on that platform, which in that case might be weird because if the game has changed that much, it would render all your saves and all that other stuff would be gone.
Yeah.
So as such, I also don't think that's a scenario that happens because I think that first year when you've got that overlap, and then they do that upgrade stuff for probably just this first year of these new consoles, that won't happen.
Yeah.
If they do eventually get to that point, it's because they have done like a feature freeze on Madden, the same way they kind of always do, where it just becomes like Legacy Edition or something like that, where it's like, hey, we updated the rosters in the game we put out 4 years ago again, and we're going to keep selling it. So there you go, and so on. So,
yeah.
I don't know.
Do they still do the same thing they used to do, where they'd strip features for the next generation and slowly add them back in?
I mean, that was always something that they did because they were doing so much work. Or the theory, the reason you would do something like that is because you're doing so much fundamental work to the game, but you're still putting out an annual franchise,
Sure.
right? So
Yeah, I
like,
believe it.
We spent all this time making the game just work and making the big changes we wanted to make, and now we have time to put a franchise mode back in or whatever. I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know. With these consoles being at least like somewhat similar in nature from one to the next, I don't know that they'll have to take that step back.
Yeah.
But the fuck do I know? I don't know. It's that's what it seems like to me. But ultimately, who the fuck knows?
Yeah. All right, a couple more emails. Trent in Minneapolis. My friend was telling me how embarrassed he was when his girlfriend lifted up her mask to sneeze into her arm. This made me realize that I genuinely don't know what I would do if I was trying to social distance at the grocery store and suddenly had to sneeze. Sneezing into a mask seems like it could go very, very wrong, but obviously sneezing is an extreme case of the kind of moistness that wearing a mask is supposed to contain. Plus, you usually don't have much time to decide what to do when you suddenly feel that tickle in your nose. Can you please help me figure out what the best snap decision would be if you have to sneeze in public while wearing a mask?
Sneeze into the fucking mask.
Yes, man. You just gotta.
That's why it's there.
You just gotta.
That's what it's there for.
You gotta
right?
eat it on that one.
You could
Dude,
even
well, don't
go
eat it
further
after.
and
not
I would
in
even
your mask
do a
in your
little
elbow.
Yes.
action there
Yes.
on top of that.
Yes,
to
make
be
sure
honest.
the mask is secured to your face. But you've got to suffer the consequences on that one.
God, I
That's
hate
the whole
like,
point of the mask.
How many sneezes do you have that are like consequential.
Well, I was about to say,
Man.
exact
happens.
problem going on right now is it's allergy season.
Yeah, talk
real
somebody
bad.
talk
Yeah,
somebody with
okay, fair
severe
enough.
allergies.
Yeah,
I think my record is like 7 or 8 sneezes in a row without stopping.
Nice.
But
I was-
what
I
I'm saying
was-
is like how many of those are messy?
Oh no, yeah,
sneezes?
not that bad.
Yeah.
But any sneeze has some amount of collateral damage to it.
Yeah.
I was at the store and the allergies were really bad, and I like sneezed once, and it was like the moment in a Western where somebody walks in and the piano music stops and everyone turns around and looks at the person, but it was just me in the like produce aisle and everyone just kind of turning and looking towards me, and I want to be like, I'm not sick, I'm just broken.
Yeah, the level of mistrust that this pandemic has bred feels bad. Like it just every time you go anywhere now, it's like looking.
Well, even just like a lot of that I think comes back to the idea of just like they're opening up more stuff, right? Like California,
Oh my God,
they're
it's
opening up
too
movie
early.
theaters on Friday. Like what? And so that idea of just like, oh, it wouldn't be the worst idea in the world to get a haircut at some point down the line, right? But like they opened up salons, and I'm just like, fuck no.
Take a look at the curve and look at the graph.
Yeah.
Look at the new infection graph in basically every state that's doing that right now.
Yeah, Texas
And-
had record numbers. I think.
And
Like California is not doing great either.
California's graph is like that right now. Like take a look at Florida. Like it is not a good idea.
I know someone who is awaiting a test and is incredibly sick, and this is like that reminder of just like I hadn't heard from anyone relatively recently that had it, and now it's like, oh, we're waiting on these test results and see how it goes, and it's like it's fucking bad.
I mean,
Like all these stories about like, hey, the beaches are reopened, and oh, it's really great to, there was a local newspaper article about like restaurants reopening around here, and they were like, even with the masks on, you could sense the smiles at people that were finally able to eat in a dining room at a restaurant again. I'm like, you people are fucking morons. What the fuck is wrong with you?
yes.
It's just stupid. Just fuck, man.
Or for a broader view, you should go find a good graph of the Spanish flu and how that went.
Yeah.
Take a look at the relatively small size of the initial spike compared to the one that is like 8 times bigger about 6 or 8 months later.
Yeah.
I saw a friend post that they were at the mall yesterday because it was open in Daly City, and there was a giant line outside of a Forever 21 because they're having a massive sale.
Yeah, dude, look at the videos of people in Vegas casinos from this past weekend.
Oh God!
No masks to
Yeah,
be
I saw
seen.
that.
All that recirculated air.
Oh.
Yep. It's gonna
Assholes.
I guess casinos
Yes.
are dank too.
Be gonna be,
yeah.
it's gonna
gross.
be a good time. Speaking of good times, here's the last email. I've sent you all a YouTube link. I'm going to ask you all to click it. I don't think it has an ad on it, so you should all get the play at about the same time.
Okay.
I'll read the email first. I don't know how I don't remember this, considering I bought Tribes 2 and played it. Jeff might have some recollection of this. Drew in West Virginia. Is the theme for Tribes 2 by Motley Crue the worst song ever made by a named band for a video game? Have you heard this?
I
No.
know.
You have to hear this. We're going to listen to this. All right.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Ready.
Okay, everybody click play on 3, 2, 1, play.
Okay,
Oh, it's muted.
not the worst right now.
Just
Okay.
This isn't real. This can't be.
Why don't we do this?
Wow. This is like Hot Dad made this as a goof, right? This isn't.
This can't be real.
Yeah, so, okay, Motley Crue, today we have the Tribes song. We don't know anything about the... Just say Tribes!
That's all you need to know.
Can you tell me anything about the game? No, you don't want to know.
Here's what we got. We're Motley Crue. What are you gonna tell us? You gonna tell us to fix it? No.
You're saying there's a dump truck full of cocaine outside that you want to get to? Sure. Like, okay, we can do this in one.
Yeah.
The song has a single lyric.
But like also
It's
like
incredible.
that song that instrumental probably existed from some studio session.
Sure.
And then they were like, oh yeah, I can go in and I can shout tribes over this.
They convinced Vince Neil to lay down a single line.
Yeah.
He says
He
tribes.
laid,
and
he
says,
laid down more than a
"Tribes!"
single line.
Well, I'm sure.
But
I didn't
What
think
other
of it.
games?
catch
thought
that.
I thought somebody was trying to get one over on us, but I went and found an interview from 2000 on IGN
Yeah.
about
Really?
the Motley Crue theme song for Tribes 2.
Wow.
That's fucking bizarre, man.
It's really something.
How much do you think that cost? Too much.
Quite a bit too much, I'm going to say.
I still think the end credit song to Wolfenstein 2 is worse than this.
Yes. Yeah. No, I'm happy when I hear this. I'm not happy when I hear the Wolfenstein stuff. Yeah.
Okay. All right, there's your answer then. No, it is not the worst. Although if anybody else has any other
Yeah, I would love to hear more of these.
any other contenders out there for well-known bands churning out shit music for video games,
Glover, dun, 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 dun. Glover,
Please let us
Glover, Glover, dun, 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 dun.
Did Kiss do anything for Psycho Circus?
I don't know.
I bet that's-
I mean, that was like a Psycho Circus was like a larger thing for them, right?
Oh,
I think there was an
sure.
album, so
Right.
they might have just had music
Oh,
already.
sure.
There was also like
Yeah,
a
that's-
Crew Ball, which was like a Motley Crue
Yeah,
pinball
That's true.
game.
That's true.
But that's
Huh.
that's like Genesis renditions of Dr.
Yeah.
Feelgood that are actually kind of cool.
Yeah, they are.
There are no Tribes 2 theme song.
What is?
It's true. It's true.
Tribes.
Been sitting on that one for a while. Waiting for the moment. It's real earworm.
Tribes.
Just
Tribes.
sticks in your head.
It's poignant. I think it's
Yeah, it's real commentary on the times. It was ahead of its time.
yeah.
It lets you know what you're getting.
When you think about it.
Yeah.
They really saw what was coming, and they.
Yeah, there was. I'm trying to think like what else there was. Yeah, someone XK Jack says Megadeth did a Gears of War song in 07.
Did they really?
Yeah,
Huh.
yes. Adema did a song for Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance that's really shitty. But is it custom? Maybe it is. I think it's the thing. Is like it's not like hey they used an existing song. It's like they recorded a new thing. But like that was something Midway. There's an era of Midway where they were very much like we had this band do a song for this, and it was like Saliva does the theme song to Spy Hunter, and just like whatever other stupid shit. I remember Ryan went to go interview Saliva.
Huh.
Wonderful.
I think we sent him somewhere to interview Saliva because it was like, sure, yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
Video games. All right.
video games.
That's all I got. That's emails. Bombcast@giantbomb.com. Thank you to everyone who exposed us to great,
different kind of
artifacts of pop culture that we might have
Yeah.
missed. If you got anything else, please enlighten us. All right, that's it for the podcast. Thanks everybody for being here. We got
Thank you.
more stuff going on throughout the week. The PlayStation 5 thing is on Thursday.
Yep.
And we will
We will be there
lend our voices to it.
to talk about that. I'm super fucking excited
Yeah.
for that. I feel like I've been waiting for this for a while, and hopefully, like obviously they also watched what Microsoft did,
Yes.
and they're like, well, let's not do that.
But
So,
what if they did?
oh, that'd be
What if
great.
They did.
I mean, did I dream this up? Wasn't the word going around that like they were going to bring games?
Yeah, they in a tweet, I think they were
Yeah, I
like,
think they said that this was supposed to be.
Oh, I think it was
Software.
because they kind of came out and said like, "Hey, we're not going to show you every aspect of the box yet." Wasn't that
Right.
the case? Like this is more of a game showcase kind of thing.
And the more of the more of the box they show, the closer they creep into price and date territory.
Those
and
are that's kind of the three remaining things, right? What does
Yeah.
it look like? How much does it cost? When is it coming out?
right. And I don't think we'll get price or date here.
Yeah. I
Um,
I don't even know if I'm expecting to see the box, but I really want to see it.
I want to see a
Same.
corner of it.
That'd be great if they just showed like we're gonna do 8 different streams, and each stream's gonna show one different edge of this thing, and piece together, and you'll know.
I feel like there was some leak going around that was not remotely substantiated. That was just like, yeah, it looks like a console. Like it's
yeah,
kind of looks like what you expect
Probably right. That's
a new PlayStation to look like at this point.
But I just thought there was some other like, is it going to end up being two-tone like the controller
Yeah, that's a big question for
or
me.
something like that?
I don't.
I think I saw an ad for their for the thing going down on Thursday, and it was like an all black controller.
Yeah, I know. I've seen that image.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to tell
That
if
may
it's
have
just
been a
really low light.
Trick of the lighting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of tough to tell if it's actually. But I'm with you.
Well,
I don't think.
I think there may. I think that may be. I mean, obviously, this generation and every generation, everyone does a billion different colors of their controller. But I wonder if that'll just end up being an option at launch if you want the black and white one. But maybe there's a standard black and standard white or something weird like that.
Yeah. Anyway, 1 p.m. Pacific. I guess we'll be live like a few minutes before that, 15 minutes before or something.
Yeah.
So come hang out with us while we discover that stuff for the first time.
Hell yeah.
And a lot of other stuff going on this week. Stay tuned to the website for more of that.
Yeah.
Streams of video games and things. All right. Well, on that note, thanks everybody for being here. We'll see you next week. Thanks for listening. Bye.